Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your TWitWoW monthly Q&A number 66. Cannot believe we've been doing these for that goddamn long, but this is in fact our 66th monthly Q&A. It means we've been doing this for 5.5 years now. Holy shit. You can even hear my mom say holy shit in the background there. And we have just 33 questions to answer today. It is our lowest Q&A total probably since the first two or so Q&As that we did. John's had his pinned tweet up since our last Q&A. Not a single soul took advantage of that to ask questions. We had a grand total of, I believe, 5 people ask questions in the Discord. 2 people asked questions on YouTube, and I had 1 person just send me their questions in from Facebook. That was just Alex. Thank you to Alex. We will be answering his questions second to last because our Alex Foster, is always last no matter what because he loves being the high note that we go out on, and we love it too. So let's start things out with our first set of questions. This is Hypothesis. He asked his questions on December 2nd, which is literally the day of our last Q&A. He always does that. He waits for the Q&A video to finish processing, and then he posts his questions right away. First question from Hypothesis. What would be your 3 dream matches involving characters from Mortal Kombat and Lucha Underground?
Mortal Kombat and Lucha Underground. Ooh, I like that. I think I would love Scorpion versus Phoenix. It just seems like a fun matchup. Actually, no. Liu Kang versus Phoenix, because the martial arts and the high flying and ever guys would be insane. Maybe Scorpion versus Mil Muertes. That seems like a better matchup. I'm going to say Pentagon versus Quan Chi would be interesting. Let me think. Well, Johnny Mundo versus Johnny Cage is a given. Like, that has to happen just to really settle it, right? Jax versus Cage, because like mechanical arms, like robotic arms, versus the man that calls himself the Machine. You know what? I really like my answers. I think I'm going to stop there while I'm hot. So, what about you? You got any ideas?
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I think I have to go with a tag team match as my number 1.
Okay.
Johnny Cage and Johnny Mundo versus Liu Kang and Prince Puma.
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
Very
then
nice.
Give me Shao Kahn versus Mil Muertes.
I like that. Yeah, I actually really like that. It's a great one.
And finally, let's get in on some immortal action. Scorpion versus Matanza.
Ooh, really like that one.
All right. Second question is also from Hypothesis because he submitted 3. Given the current direction of NXT, do you think WWE might present itself like an Adult Swim cartoon in the future?
Honestly, Hypothesis, somewhat unironically, I don't think that'd be the worst move for them if they did. Like, I don't know. I just think there's something very tired in their presentation. I think Ashton, when we first started covering Lucha Underground, it's funny because your first question, Hypothesis, involved Lucha Underground. What Ashton loved about Lucha Underground, and what I co-sign onto, especially more as time passes, is that it was a television show about wrestling. It wasn't a wrestling show. Because of all the cinematics and the overarching story, it's almost like the wrestling was secondary. WWE, when we think about WWE in times like, say, 2030 or 2035 and, around there, if a major shakeup like that doesn't happen, I'd honestly be a bit surprised. Because I know for a fact, because I did peek at the Q&A channel on our Discord, we've got another question about WWE's potential future, albeit phrased in a different way. And I'd be surprised if a part of that future wasn't a complete reimagining, especially when these are the same fucking people that liken themselves to Disney and the Marvel Universe, right? Well, if you want to be closer to that parallel, I think the way you present your product is a major part of that. And I feel like if you did that, like became more of like an Adult Swim cartoon in your point, I'd be curious if you got more specific about that, what exactly you have in mind, because I actually find that description a bit fascinating. I think you'd be closer in that territory than where you are now, because I just find the presentation very tired and very, very formulaic. And it's been how many fucking seasons now of television? You know, it really is like a Simpson syndrome. You've been going on so long, except the only difference that they have, it's an advantage to them, is you do get new acts and new performers and stuff, but you're not really fully taking advantage of them, as we saw with all these releases this year. So, yeah, I think it would be to their benefit. I just don't know if they'd have the foresight to do that or the boldness to even do it. But I'm curious what Ash would have to say here.
Truthfully, I don't really know what he means by presenting itself like an Adult Swim cartoon. Like, I really genuinely don't even know how to approach this question.
You could approach it in the way, because I know most Adult Swim cartoons are like TV-14, but they're still like, here's the thing. With Adult Swim cartoons, at least in my experience, now there are also TVMA cartoons. Like I think there was one, like, what was it called, Rockopolis or something, that was like TVMA. Team Venture, I think at times could be TVMA, but I think that was from that Metalocalypse. That's what it was. Thank you, Metalocalypse. But I noticed that a lot of the TV-14 content, it's like, yeah, you do the swearing or the sexually suggestive themes, but it's nothing so bad that if your kid would watch it, they'd be scarred for life kind of thing. Right. So it kind of like toes that line. That's what I feel like NXT kind of is, albeit just in a very bad way. Because when they do the sexual innuendos of like, oh, I wore them out, or look at all the condoms we got, like, that is like an Adult Swim cartoon. Although maybe I'm colored by nostalgia, but I almost feel like that's like a bad version of an Adult Swim cartoon.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, I feel like that's more of just like badly written teen comedy.
Yeah, I would agree with you there for sure.
So, yeah, I really. If you're just saying that they're gonna have more mature themes, doubtful. I think that'll probably stay in NXT because of shareholders and shit. You know, and as far as Lucha Underground goes, John, since you brought it up, I think one of the biggest things about Lucha Underground that I fell in love with was the continuity, because like you know, it was this perfect blend of AEW and like TV shows, because like with AEW, they have continuity and they have callbacks and they have foreshadowing and all that. But in order to actually get all of that, you have to watch like fucking 8 hours of content a week. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
With Lucha Underground, you watch 1 hour a week and it's done. That's it.
Yeah, it's very streamlined in that way. Yeah. Like it's just asking you, show up here, we do the rest kind of thing. Where it's like, man.
And with Lucha Underground, if anything was important, they didn't leave it to a YouTube show or even a video to be uploaded on their YouTube channel, the way that not only AEW but also WWE does that a lot. They have some great fucking promos that get stuck on social media or on YouTube. With Lucha Underground, if it was important, it was on the TV show.
100%, yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
So between the continuity and the fact that you didn't have to watch countless hours of content to be able to keep up with the continuity, and that they rewarded you for just tuning in every week. That's all you needed to do. Just tune in every week, and you're rewarded immensely with callbacks, with foreshadowing, with, again, just straight up continuity. Like they acknowledge that things have happened in the past to people that have maybe shaped their characters, that they're not going to just let go because someone changes alignments. I genuinely did appreciate that about Lucha Underground, and to me, that was the best part about Lucha Underground, on top of the production style and all that stuff. Right. And so, as far as like whether WWE is going to present itself like an Adult Swim cartoon, if you're just talking, like, if we're talking about, like, name some Adult Swim cartoons that might be considered examples for this, John, please.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Okay, well, I feel like that's more like stoner comedy,
though. And they've tried that with MSK and Riddle as the shaman thing. Right. At least in my opinion, they've made allusions to it.
Right. Because I think my mind is more going to like just straight up like adult or the Cartoon Network cartoons that are for everyone and not just kids, like adults, like Adventure Time and Regular Show and shit like that.
Yeah, that's Cartoon Network is what you're
Right,
thinking. So
right.
you're thinking
That's
what
where
Cartoon
my
Network
mistake
is.
is, because that's what's going through my mind, which is why I'm trying to figure out what the fuck he means by Adult Swim cartoons.
I wish he was in the chat so that he could answer this right now, but I don't think he is. Because yeah, I do find that fascinating. That's where it comes to mind. I guess we could just leave the question here, and if he listens back to it, because he was the first question, like he'd
Yeah.
be able to get back to us. Because yeah, I have really nothing to add, and I don't want us to like circle the drain trying to think about what he meant when he's not even here. So what was his third and final question?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just googled Adult Swim cartoons, and Robot Chicken, I guess, is one of them. Apparently, Rick and Morty is an Adult Swim thing.
Yeah.
Um, nothing here else that I recognize. Tuca and Birdie is interesting, but that apparently started on Netflix, not on Adult Swim. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. At least as far as, I mean, obviously you already mentioned Aqua Teen Hunger Force. The Boondocks, I think, was an Adult Swim show, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Um, you already mentioned Metalocalypse. Mike Tyson Mysteries, I think, was an Adult Swim thing.
Yes.
So basically, yeah, like that definitely feels like more what NXT's already going for, just worse for sure. And I definitely don't think WWE like Raw or SmackDown is ever going to get there because again, shareholders. So that'll just be my answer. Let's move into our third question from Hypothesis, our third and final question from HPT. At WrestleMania X7, Bobby Heenan claimed that Iron Sheik would make it to the ring by WrestleMania 38. Would he make it by night one or night two?
Night two.
I'm gonna say night one. I'm giving Sheiky Boy credit.
All right. All right.
Next set of questions are from Super Blue. First up, is 2021 the end of NXT reviews for TwitWoW? And if not, will you even make it through 2022?
Well, we did make it through 2021 because it's almost over, and we reviewed the last NXT of this year.
Right, but he's saying,
Well,
is that the last NXT review that we're gonna do?
well, no, I imagine not, because I know we're live reacting to New Year's Evil next week,
Right.
and that always kind of encapsulates kind of reviewing itself, because we always give a rundown at the end of shows, like what we thought about it overall. I will say though, if I'm being honest, are we gonna make it to 2022? I don't know if I will. I already know like how I feel about NXT, and it's on NXT to win me back, not for me to kind of gaslight myself into saying like, "Oh, I'm wrong,"
Yeah.
or whatever, you know. Again, whatever Ashton wants to do, like I follow this guy into the trenches when it goes to the show, but I feel like he's feeling the exact same way I am about the disconnect and everything. So I'm gonna say no, probably not. I'm actually gonna be pessimistic this time rather than like put a false face on it. No, I think at some point in 2022 NXT reviews will end. That's the god honest truth from
Straight up,
my
the
side.
vibe that I got from you during our last NXT review just 2 days ago, Tuesday night, I fully do not expect us to get through 20. I'd honestly be surprised if we were still reviewing NXTs by WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, because New Year's Evil could honestly maybe even be that shot in the arm where I'm like, okay, we can last a little bit longer. But I'm telling you, like, I'll put it to you this way, Super Blue. It's always going to be an ongoing conversation, the way all content should be.
Yeah.
The reason we don't have that conversation, say, about Stardom is because Stardom has a constancy where, like, I almost feel like I give them a line of credit, even if they felt like that. I feel like New Japan is still on a line of credit right now because, we are going to be doing Wrestle Kingdom and everything. Even though, again, I've been kind of honest. I'm only psyched maybe about 3 matches just off the top of my head, maybe. But New Japan was so good for so long that I want to see them come back, right, from that and get back to the place where it's like, oh, man, Ashley, can you believe that fucking show that we watched? Because I want us to review good wrestling. A stinker is only good when it happens every once in a while because you have something really good to compare it to. But when you're in a sea of shit, it just becomes depressing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm looking for NXT to win me back. New Year's Evil could maybe be the start of that, but
it's like New Japan and Stardom are kind of inverted versions of WWE, but when WWE goes on a hot streak, specifically for New Japan, because like New Japan was just the tits, just the best wrestling that you could enjoy for years and years and years, and then 2020 rolls around and they kind of open the year. Really, you could argue, Wait, what year was it? No, yeah, it was 2020 when they unified the belts at the beginning of the year. That was kind of the first sign that, like, okay, something's off here. And then COVID happens, and then when we come back from COVID, they're in full panic mode, and they push Evil to the moon to the point that they put the world title on him. And that was like, okay, the shit's hit the fan. This is bad. And then we get Ibushi. Actually, no, yeah, Ibushi was the one that unified the belts this year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So really, it was what happened at Wrestle Kingdom in 2020 that was weird. I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember.
Wasn't that Jesus that was Christ. That was Naito winning the world title, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Naito won both titles. That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, because then Kenta attacked him and he posed with both.
Yep. Naito won both of the titles and then Kenta attacked him afterwards. Yeah, but I thought that was cool though. But then you get Evil with the title because I think Evil beat Naito for the titles, right? Or am I wrong on that too?
Evil beat Naito. Yeah, I think Evil did beat Naito because Naito was the champion at the time when he won.
Right. He was champion during the break during COVID, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we come back. Evil beats Naito. That's like, what the fuck? Then, the eventual Ibushi win at Wrestle Kingdom this year was really cool, but they unified the titles and they got rid of the IC title, and that was fucking stupid in my opinion. Then you do the whole thing with Ospreay basically squashing Ibushi, and that was disgusting and horrible. And then Ospreay gets injured, and they put the title on Shingo, who we'll talk about more tomorrow, I think. But the general idea being, like, New Japan is on a little bit of a bad streak. Like, they've made a few big, important, bad decisions. But that doesn't mean the whole company is just shit now. Whereas with WWE, it's almost like if you look back to, like, WrestleMania last year or 2 years ago, the one where we had, like, Kofi, Seth, and Becky. I think it was 2019, actually, wasn't it? The one where Kofi Mania happened, and Seth beat Brock, and Becky won everything. It was like the Becky 2 belts thing. That was last year, actually, wasn't it? 2020, wasn't it?
I thought that was 2019.
It might have been 2019. I don't remember, honestly. But regardless, like, that's like... That was kind of like that similar moment where it was like the opposite, where it's like we've been waiting through shit for so long that these good decisions coming out of nowhere are like, wow, this is really neat. Whereas with New Japan, it's the opposite. We've been basking in glory for so long that now all of a sudden we get hit with a few pieces of shit, and it's like, whoa, this is weird. We don't want to get used to this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, like with WWE, you expect the shit, and then when good things happen, it's that much bigger of a deal. Whereas with New Japan... You expect things to be good, so when bad things happen, it seems that much worse.
Exactly.
Like well John said, they have like a line of credit. Like, WWE's in the negative, New Japan's still in the positive.
Yeah.
Stardom, I feel like Stardom is just nothing but positive. Like, even Momo turning on QQ was like, some might even argue that was a good decision.
No, see, I love how much I've been worked by it.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. I think it's bad purely from the emotional standpoint of like, no, Momo, how could you do this to us? And it's like, no, I didn't do it to you. I did it for me. And it's like, fuck.
All right.
But yeah, like, and I will say this, guys, even with New Japan, I agree with everything Ashton said. I'm proud of us too, because one thing as a channel that I think has changed for the better this year is that I think we've become far more assertive and selective in our content. The idea that we called an audible and said we're not doing the G1 was huge for us.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, this sucks. And, I don't want New Japan to burn through its credit because it's inevitably going to catch me in a bad mood. So that's another thing, too. Like, us safeguarding ourselves from content, another big move we made this year. We're not doing most WWE pay-per-views outside of the Big Four. So we're doing Rumble and Mania and stuff, but day one that's coming up this Saturday, actually. We're not doing that. After our year in awards and everything, we're going to kick back and we're going to relax. So I think that's another thing that's kind of helped us to appreciate the really good stuff and not be as affected by the bad stuff is like, hey, we don't have to take this, which is why NXT is an ongoing discussion because it is very clearly in the category of bad stuff for us right now.
Right.
And again, especially for me after this last episode. Yeah, especially for me. Like, I know Ashton, I think, is kind of with me on some stuff, but I was very emphatic in our last review. And so, I'll see where we're at after New Year's Evil, because that does look like a genuinely good show. But yeah, I think with any content that we're starting to have doubts about, it's always an ongoing conversation, Super Blue. So what's his next question?
Second question from Super Blue. How do you feel about the results of Final Battle, End of an Era, and do you think Ring of Honor will return next year?
Again, I'm just going to be brutally honest. I don't think they will, and if they do, I think it'll be a shell of itself. So I think, honestly, it'll return in a way that you wish it was dead.
Would you like to hear the results of Final Battle, End of an Era?
You give me those results, and I will give live reactions to them as you read them to me.
Dragon Lee defeats Ray Horus in 11 minutes, 21 seconds.
Smart. Okay.
A Ring of Honor World Television Title four-corner survival match. Dalton Castle, the defending champion, and the winner, Rhett Titus. The other two were Joe Hendry and Silas Young.
Don't have a problem with Rhett Titus. I haven't seen him in a long time. Other than that, I would have had Dalton Castle maybe retain if Rhett Titus has sucked since that time, because I think Dalton Castle is still a gem from what I understand. But I guess harmless.
A Ring of Honor Pure Championship match. Josh Woods, the champion, defending against Brian Johnson. Woods retains via TKO.
Have no idea who either of those people are, so I can't really evaluate that decision.
Fight Without Honor match, which is basically, no holds barred, Extreme Rules kind of thing. Shane Taylor defeats Kenny King in 1747.
A lot of people seem to be into Shane Taylor. I personally have never gotten it, but good for Ring of Honor, I guess, and good for Shane Taylor.
You know who Shane Taylor is, though? Like, you've seen him before. You know what he looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure. All right. Ring of Honor Women's World Title match. Rock C, who is their current champion, defeats Willow in 10 minutes, 18 seconds. I believe Willow is Willow Nightingale. Yeah, it is.
I feel like I'm vaguely familiar with one of these women, but I'm not sufficiently familiar to comment substantively.
All right. We had an 8-man tag match, which was Rocky Romero and Violence Unlimited, which is Brody King, Homicide, and Tony Deppen, versus Team Foundation, which is EC3, Eli Isom, Taylor Rust, a.k.a. Tyler Rust, and Tracy Williams. And Rocky and Violence Unlimited won that match.
I really don't care for Rocky, and so that's just whatever. I kind of wish Tyler Rust's team would have won the Foundation, but that's just a personal preference.
Ring of Honor World Tag Team Title match. The Briscoes defeat the OGK, which is the OG Kingdom, which is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett with Maria at the ringside.
Oh God. Fuck the Briscoes personally, but in ring they are really good. If we're separating the art from the artist.
In wrestling in general, they cut hella good promos too.
Yeah, they do. We got to be honest about the talent. I don't like people that they re-alter their perception of their in-ring just because they find out they're shitty people. I'd always like us to keep it 100. I know I do it too sometimes. Nobody's perfect, but we got to see it for what it is. Matt Taven sucks, so I think that was the right call. You may hate the Briscoes, but I honestly think the Briscoes are better than the OG Kingdom, so yeah.
Yeah, I've seen apparently the Briscoes might end up in AEW sooner than later.
Would not surprise me, and whether we like it or not, I think they'll make quite a bit of good money. So, yeah.
So that match actually got 4.5 stars from the Observer, from Meltzer, so that's pretty cool. Then we got a vacant ROH World Championship match between Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. Gresham won.
Cool. I think Gresham's stock's been on the rise the last year or two, seemingly. So good for him. Really good for him.
Yeah, I don't know what Gresham's going to be up to now, but I do know, obviously, Jay Lethal was just in AEW. He had a cup of water. I don't know if he's going to stick around or not.
All right. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, there's the results. That's the whole card. That's the whole show. And that's why we don't watch Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Won't be any Ring of Honor to watch now.
Next question. I do agree with you, though. I do agree that ROH is saying they're going to return, but I doubt they do. And if they do, it's going to be like some fucking garbage ass. We're trying to be PWG, but no one can be better than the original kind of bullshit.
I mean, maybe this is too hyperbolic and maybe this isn't even accurate, but when I hear stuff like that, oh, we're going to be back, it does make me think about some MLW Lucha Underground shit, right? It's you can't be the real thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Sinclair isn't going to fucking miss them. Sinclair doesn't give a fuck.
No, they don't.
So.
Companies like that rarely do, so.
All right, third question from Super Blue. Now that Kyle is in AEW, if he gets betrayed by Adam for a third, or is it fourth time, does he deserve what happens to him?
Not even being scumbag, yes. Yes, because the NXT betrayal wasn't even that long ago. It wasn't even that long ago. So, like, see, and this is what, like, can I actually give a genuine nitpick here? And maybe it's actually a good thing. I don't know. But, like, you look at Malachi Black, right? And he came in, and I even remember from the prison vignettes that he did before he formally debuted in AEW, he kept up the eye. So I know that was like a personal choice. But there's got to be some collaboration, I'm guessing, between workers and bookers or whatever. I don't know AEW's exact model. But whatever discussions they had, they're like, yeah, run with the eye. We'll make it our own narrative. Kyle, as a performer, I don't understand how, if they're like, oh, we're going to put you with Adam and Bobby, that he doesn't say, well, hey, you know, we're hoping for a lot of carryover from NXT to your product. I'm going to look like an idiot if they just see me standing next to Adam like nothing's wrong. Now, maybe they're going to tease tension subtly. I don't watch the product. I do not know. But I hope they tease tension subtly or tease something, because if they're just treating it like, oh, yeah, we're a unified front, we're going to shield this bitch, and we're going to run roughshod over AEW, I'm sorry if you're a Kyle O'Reilly fan. To me, it's just kind of weird, right? Because this guy
Dude,
just
honestly, the way that I felt when I first realized that O'Reilly was in AEW to side with Adam is like they really did the exact opposite of what they should have done here. Like,
yeah,
in my mind, O'Reilly shouldn't have showed up to help Adam. He should have showed up to fuck over Adam. He should have literally gone into that match to screw Adam over, to cost him the match, and then attacked him after he got pinned.
yeah, I agree with you completely.
Like,
absolutely.
You should literally just act like these guys legitimately just hate each other in real life. Like, you should legitimately just have O'Reilly. You should assume that people know what's going on in the wrestling world and that people keep their fingers on the pulse, even if they don't directly watch the competition. They are at least aware of what's going on. And you have O'Reilly come in, you have him attack Cole, you have him go after him, you have him beat the fuck out of him. And even if people who are watching never know who the fuck this guy is, they've never seen an episode of NXT or Ring of Honor in their lives, you can have commentary explain these guys used to be best friends and they've been at each other's throats for months now. You don't even have to name drop NXT. You can completely ignore that it exists, but you can still say that they have been trying to kill each other for months now, because that's true.
Yes. I think I agree with everything you said. I agree with it to the letter. Now, look, if we're talking about the turned up fan in me, I thought Adam was in the right when he betrayed Kyle the first time. But if we're talking about putting it together a coherent narrative that's engaging, yeah, again, Ashton was 1,000% on point. I don't understand why Kyle didn't screw Adam out of something. I don't even understand why he didn't sucker him, and like Bobby's just left like, oh guys, what a mess. What are we gonna do now? You know, because he has the charisma of a vacuum, so of course he's not gonna have any defining moments himself.
I almost have to wonder if they're going to try and do like a backwards thing. Like if they're going to have O'Reilly only be tolerating Adam because of Bobby, but eventually we get to a point where Kyle and Bobby turn on Adam finally.
Yeah.
Because that's really the only way that I would be able to like salvage what the hell they're doing right now, where they're basically just having Bobby and Kyle kowtow to Cole, right? Because like in my mind, the only way that this makes sense for Kyle is if he's getting along to just kind of, you know, not stir anything up, not cause any problems, but the whole time in the back he's like trying to convince Bobby, like, dude, you know he's gonna turn on us, you know he's gonna betray us, just like he did to me in NXT, like all that shit, right? And then eventually, once he actually convinces Bobby, or once maybe Adam betrays the Young Bucks or something like that, like maybe it'll take Adam actually betraying someone other than Kyle and Fish for Bobby to be like, oh shit, this really is just what he does. Then you have Fish and O'Reilly attack Cole to be like, we're getting you before you can get us, because we know what you are, we know who you are, and you're not going to pull that shit off on us.
You know what I love about that? Is that even for the little that I watch AEW, I've heard people say that like it's very clear that they're building up to Adam turning on Kenny. So you've just got a whole betrayal train.
Yeah.
Or it's like, he betrays Kenny and it's like, haha, I have the advantage. Oh, wait a minute, Adam. We have the advantage. And it's like, nani? And then Kyle and Bobby just betray him. And it's this whole thing. Like,
it would be, that would actually be perfect, is if they were like with Adam, but then Adam betrays Kenny. And then in Adam's big match with Kenny that comes out of that, they betray Adam and go join with Kenny and the Elite, and Adam's just out on his own again.
Yeah. Yeah, I love everything about that. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, I get really excited about the prospect of betrayal. So, yeah, that,
damn, that gets... He's brought 3 other kids into that garden. He's going to betray you.
He's lying to you. So, yeah, that, oh man, call it Santos Escobar because that really gets my motor going. Next question.
Fourth question. But by the way, I do want to just say, can we not victim blame, please? Kyle's been the victim way too many times for us to start acting like it's his fault or he deserves it. Fuck that.
I mean, but recently though, like here's the thing too, like the only reason I would in this context is he won the feud, which is pretty much the metaphorical case of actually getting out of the relationship. So in my opinion, when you get out of that dynamic, your agency is augmented, right? Not diminished. And so if you use that to be like, oh yeah, Adam, I forgive you, let's go back and say, it's like, come on, man. Like, obviously I agree we shouldn't victim blame, but it's just, in those circumstances, it's hard, man. I want to look at Kyle and be like, you're better than this. Why are you doing this? So maybe he is playing 5-headed chess and we don't know it. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. I'm hoping you're right, man. I really am.
All right, fourth question from Super Blue. How do you feel about Kevin Owens resigning with WWE?
Okay, can I actually answer this first? Because I know what a huge Kevin Owens fan I am. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because he even said, like, I have to thank, it's fine, McLean, you're here. It's cool. Just relax, get comfy. He said, I had to think about what I'm doing that's best for my family. Now, when you look at Kevin Owens, right, he did the PWG, guerrilla warfare matches. He did ROH. I'm sure he did some, like, Fight Without Honor matches. He's done, like, the crazy independent matches. The dude's 37 fucking years old. I think he still works at a high-quality level. If this is his time where he's like, you know what, I paid my dues, I did the whole, like, match of the year kind of thing there, I still get to occasionally have really great matches here, and I'm making good money, and I smile biggest when the check clears, because my family's taken care of, more power to him. As a guy that doesn't have the responsibilities that Kevin Owens does, of course I'm going to think about him more from the performer side. These are the matches I'd like to see him in. I even said I am so invested in Kevin Owens right now, he probably would get me to watch at least more AEW content than I am right now, which is practically nothing. So as a fan of the performer, I'm a bit meh, but then again, I'm even enjoying what he's doing right now. I'll always prefer babyface Owens, but he got a few chuckles out of me even from the stuff because I went and I watched it on YouTube that he did this past Monday, where like he's saying that he's not thrilled that the interviewer's name is Kevin and his name is Bert now, and I fucking love KO. I don't know, I just always have. But as a human being looking at another human being, and as a leftist that just wants all workers to have their needs met and stuff like that, I'm happy for Kevin. And really, I have no right to be anything other than just supportive of what he's giving because it's his life, his family, his choices. So that's really where I think it comes down to for me. I don't know if Ashton has anything he wants to add, but that's just where I'm at.
No, I mean, yeah, it's basically the sentiment is the same. I wish we could see him get some new, fresh matchups. But obviously his family has to come first. And if he feels like the financial benefits of working in WWE are worth the wear and tear that it puts on his body and the mental strain that it might put on him, then that is all the power to him, and that is his decision to make, and I am not going to do anything other than support the man. So, that being said, though, Super Blue, we really need to talk about the difference between resigning and re-signing.
Yeah.
And it's not just you. It's not just you either, because I noticed lots and lots of people in our Discord don't know the difference. To resign, R-E-S-I-G-N, is to quit or to leave. To re-sign, R-E-S-I-G-N, is to sign a second time or multiple times or again in general. That's what Kevin Owens did. Kevin Owens re-signed. Where's it with dash? There's a little dash in there between the E and the S. Everyone's saying he resigned. I feel like even fucking Sean Ross Sapp, when he tweeted about it, he said resigned. I was like, what the fuck, man? Anyway.
Acceptable!
Yeah. Oh, that was Lemon Grab, wasn't it?
Yep.
Super Blue, fifth question and final question. How do you feel about Kellogg's giving in to their workers' demands? I'm going to let you go off on this, King.
Oh, God, so happy. Literally one of the highlights of my year, and I had nothing to do with it. No, it's inspiring, man. Like, it feels so good. Because here's the thing. Abel always is usually the one that brings us into political stuff, and it's okay that he does, because it's good that we flex and we get to teach people about where we're at, just with current events and stuff like that. And it's always primarily going to be from a leftist standpoint. But man, is it good to talk about something good. Really, if I had any nitpick, it's that they even conceded at all to Kellogg. Because to me, especially in these times we're living in, if Kellogg agrees to our terms, they're telling on themselves. And I was telling this to Ashton over a game of Rocket League. They're telling on themselves. They're saying, oh man, we can't replace these guys. We tried to get scabs. The fucking millennials and Zoomers teamed up and they crashed our website with the application. They'll probably keep doing it because they know what's happening. I'd be curious how hurt their sales were, because I saw a lot of people say they were going to abstain from buying Kellogg products. In fact, I know for a fact, Ashton, your household was one of them. So you were really good about that. And so, yeah, I like collectively, you saw a lot of the power that the union had. And I think it was a very empowering and inspiring time. Hell, Bernie Sanders, even he went down to Kellogg and he talked with the protesters, and they really appreciated him being there. And that's one thing. Look, I really, ultimately, I come down against social democrats long term, because I think at best they provide short-term relief from the bleeding, but they don't have the imagination for long-term solutions. That's the most succinct way I could describe social democrats. That said, I feel like Bernie Sanders, if he was president, would have been the most pro-union president of all time. Like Joe Biden talks about supporting unions, I feel like Bernie in his policy and in his presence would have supported these unions. In fact, I even have to wonder if, with a Bernie presidency, if we would have gotten a Starbucks union a lot sooner. And even if Amazon would be struggling to keep their unions at bay right now with like that presidential kind of backing, like, hell yeah, fucking unionize this shit, because Amazon scares the fuck out of me, and it should scare the fuck out of all of us, but I digress. But in spite of all of that, you know, the idea that Kellogg gonna win, I want this to be a message to people. You know, for any of our friends that are working class, and I'm assuming it's a lot of you guys, or maybe you guys are between jobs, if your job is one capable of unionizing, join a union. Seriously, join a union. It'll protect you. I think it gives you bargaining power, because if you're one isolated individual, if like you're in that like atomistic state that neoliberalism always wants us in, like, oh, you're free because you're an individual and you're self-enclosed and nobody can interfere with you. See the language they use? They say like, oh, people can only interfere with me. But why is that the only relation I can have with other people? Why can't I join up with them? Why can't I link up with them? Why can't I make community with them and raise our collective power? See, they want you to feel that all the power lies with you isolated, and again, in your individuality. Individuality, when you really excavate it in a capitalist environment, is a very insidious concept, because they can beat you every time if it's just you as an individual. It's only when you're collective that they start to sweat. And when they agreed to the workers' demands, what that showed me was Kellogg was sweating, because the workers were on the ground protesting. Nobody crossed the picket line. Millennials and Zoomers, again, as I said, they crashed the website. So when Kellogg was like, fine, fuck you, we'll replace them, they're like, not getting off that easy. They crashed it. That's collectivism. And the conservatives want to paint it as like, oh, but you'll all wear gray and you'll all be carrying the same ball and chain and it'll be drab and depressed. Like capitalism? Like the 40-hour work week? Like this whole pandemic where we literally saw on national television people say that some people would have to die for the greater good of the bull god? Is that the society? Because that's a society I'm living in. They make collectivism seem like a death blow, but they gaslight you, because in fact, therein lies our very liberation. And I hope other unions see that. This wasn't even the only victory we got this year. A Starbucks did get a union, and that's huge. That is huge. Amazon, they lost their chance at a union once. They're going to try again. And maybe even 2022 will be the year that Amazon gets a union, and then you're really seeing something special. Unironically, and I say this purely from a leftist perspective, and I don't want people to confuse me with an accelerationist, which, just to break that down for people, an accelerationist is somebody that believes that for liberation and really revolution to come, you need to accelerate the contradictions within capitalism. So I think an accelerationist to a degree would look at COVID and be like, oh, this is great because now all the negatives of capitalism will be accelerated. I'm not looking for wide-scale destruction and devastation because I know that also affects working class. But I will say the Great Resignation, which I look at, is different because that was workers' choice. That was workers saying, like, no, we're not going to accept this. No, this is my time off. I'm taking it. No, I want $15 an hour, if not more. The Great Resignation was the best thing to happen this year, just as a whole. And we saw Kellogg take a blow. And by the way, quick side note, I love how many L's. I mean, there are 2 L's in their fucking name, and it's appropriate because they eat so many L's to fucking labor. Between this and Venezuela workers occupying a factory that they wanted to close without their knowledge and be like, oh, yeah, we're just going to get out of here. And they're just like, nope, fuck you. We're taking this factory. Love it. Love it. I love what labor has been given to Kellogg all these years, and I hope they keep that energy up. So how do I feel about it, Super Blue? I feel fucking great, and I really hope it's the beginning of kind of a renaissance of labor movements, and I hope it's a renaissance of unions and union power, because I'm almost done, and there is one more thing I want to say. I just want to say it carefully, because I don't necessarily think unions are the end-all be-all as far as, like, revolution overthrowing capitalism and getting us to where I'd like us to be as a leftist society, but they are a vital component of it. I think there's obviously more, but if you don't have the working class, I don't really think you have a solid base. And that's why I think a lot of what mainstream media does, what corporate America does, with the identity politics and being like, look how progressive we are because we have a black CEO. It's all smoke and mirrors, and it's all distracting from the material economic class interest. Remember one thing, guys. They will always try and peddle you with abstractions. Oh, but we're about equality. We're about this. We're about this. We don't interrogate these concepts enough. Equality of what? Right? What is your idea of justice? Because everything operates concretely. Everything operates materially. Everything. Everything. The rich know it. We know it too. And we're starting to act on it because we're no longer feeding on platitudes. We are acting materially when we unionize, when we collectivize, and we use that power to leverage it to get more humane working conditions, more equitable conditions for workers. So I think it's huge, and I really hope it's the start of something bigger. I'm not that optimistic because I know how the American left usually goes, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it was a great year for unions and for labor. So good shit.
Yeah, I currently live in a General Mills / Malto Meal household now.
Yeah, yeah. Don't cross the picket line, guys. Don't like every time I know that Amazon's like doing a strike, and you're talking about a guy that buys from Amazon a lot. I'm always honest about how I participate in capitalism. I think you need to be, right? But every time I know that a strike's happening, I don't buy. You don't cross picket lines. Solidarity with the working class.
Yeah. And if you did want an alternative, by the way, to Frosted Flakes, there's a brand of cereal called Happy Belly. And you can buy a box of their Frosted Cornflake cereal for only $3 on Amazon.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, you'd imagine you can probably buy it elsewhere too. But, oh no, actually, Happy Belly is an Amazon brand. So if you're protesting Amazon too, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us get into our next, I think, set. Yeah, our next set of questions, which are from Revel, who's here, actually. Revel just popped into the chat to say, oh, hello there. Didn't realize this was happening. I'm punching into 13 hours in my shift, or into my shift, 10 more minutes to clock out. Holy fuck. Speaking of capitalism, good lord. Yeah, really. First question from Revel. What genre of music are each of the following wrestling promotions? And then he lists pretty much all the major ones. WWE, AEW, MLW, Impact, New Japan, Stardom, Ring of Honor.
Jesus. Okay. Ring of Honor's country because I never fucking listened to it. So yeah, Ring of Honor's country for me. If I'm going by my favorite genres, I mean, Stardom would have to be alt rock because I listen to a lot of alt rock. So Stardom's alt rock for me. New Japan is rap because I enjoy it, but I don't listen to it heavily. Although, admittedly, I did get into it a lot more this year. Impact could also be country because I don't watch that shit at all. But I don't hate it as much as ROH.
Dude, honestly, I think Impact is country. I think Impact is just straight up the perfect country parallel.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm just going by the music tastes that like I like. So I'm looking at their personal lens.
I think New Japan. I think New Japan is jazz. Because
okay.
Because I feel like you're approaching this from a very like subjective, personal standpoint. I'm more trying to think of it as just like a general, like grand scheme of things standpoint. Impact being country fits because like it's like you know the company itself, you know, fucking Dixie Carter. It was based in Tennessee for the longest time. It's very, let's just say, redneck friendly for the longest time, and even now, like they really don't give a fuck about employing racists or whatever.
True.
So and the thing is, they employ racists, but you know who else they employ? Some of the best goddamn black wrestlers in the world right now: Willie Mack, Rich Swann, Chris Bay, Moose, for fuck's sakes. And hey, say what you want about the South and country, but there are a lot of black people in the South, and they basically just have to fucking put up with the racists all day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Impact is country, and that's perfect. The reason I say New Japan is jazz is because when it's at its best, it's better than anything else in the wrestling industry. And to me, jazz, when it's at its best, is like the best music to possibly listen to. But when jazz isn't super on point, it's hard to listen to. And that's New Japan right now.
All right. Interesting. All right.
I mean, WWE's pop, right? That's easy.
Yeah.
Like, specifically, the WWE's like bubblegum pop.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's just designed to try and cast the widest net and be as relatable as possible to as many people as possible, you know?
Yeah.
AEW is like nostalgia pop. It's like that radio station that you tune into where they play like 70s, 80s, and 90s pop music.
I like that comparison. Yeah.
Because it's like they're trying really hard not to be the exact same thing as WWE, but failing. But also, it's like just like a different version of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I will say, there is more soul to AEW than there is to WWE too.
I would agree with that. Even as somebody that doesn't watch, I would definitely agree with that.
MLW, I would say MLW is like current contemporary rock. And mainstream rock specifically. And the reason that I say that is because big thing that I've noticed with like current mainstream rock is that it does take a surprising amount of influences from country music, and like it's basically doing its best to try and recapture the magic of the 70s and 80s without any of the soul. And that's MLW.
Yeah. Hey, Jackie, glad you could join us.
Speaking of Jackie, Stardom is pop punk for me, at least, just because like even though I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that think that it is like sort of sellouty and like, oh, they're pandering or whatever, sometimes you just want to fucking feel good and you want to just enjoy something, and that's what Stardom is for me, and that's what pop punk music is for me too. So
good
for me,
shit.
Stardom's pop punk, and then Ring of Honor, I'm just gonna go classical, right? Because like, I mean, classical music is basically dead. Nobody really makes it anymore. I'm sure there are people who do, but like, no one that's gonna really get noticed in a major way for it. But at the same time, like, you go back and listen to some classical music, and there's some good shit in that library. Same with ROH. There's some good shit in their library too. So yeah, ROH is classical.
Yeah, that's agreeable to me.
Did you
All
want
right.
to? Did you want to name any other like different ones for any of them?
No, I feel pretty good about what I named because again, I look at it from more of a subjective point. But yeah, like I realize that there are a lot of genres that I just don't listen to. So yeah, I feel like what you said was pretty agreeable, especially given your rationale for each one. So I'm good to move on to the next question.
Second question from Revel: if aliens invaded, would you sell out humanity for your own survival without hesitation? John
Yes,
says.
100% yes. I need to be honest with everybody. I have had such a strong craving to turn heel lately. Like, I really just want to ruin a relationship and really just traumatize the other person. And it's funny that I say that. Well, Ashton's right here. But yeah, I've really, really had the urge. So, the Rebel, 1,000% yes. They'd be like, if you don't tell us whatever about humanity, we'll blow. Like, before they could even get the sentence out, I would give the answer. And I'd be like, please, just let me live. Yeah, 1,000% yes. 1,000% yes. Ashton.
Listen, if aliens are invading and they're giving me the option to sell out humanity in order to survive, everyone's gonna fucking die anyway. So what does it matter? Who cares, right?
Exactly.
Like, if aliens are invading, that means that they've come from another fucking galaxy, which means that their technology has evolved so fucking far past ours that if they really wanted to, they could probably evaporate the entire planet in an instant. It's just a matter of them getting whatever the fuck it is that they want. So if I can tell them how to get what they want and they can take it and leave, then I didn't just save myself, I saved everyone.
There you go. Yeah.
So third question from Revel: would society be better off with no left or right and just plain neutral?
So, no. No. Do this calmly, John. Use your words. You remember how I said 2 questions ago when Super Blue asked about Kellogg? And I said it late in the red, so I don't blame anybody if they don't remember, because I always say a lot when it comes to questions like these. How we need to interrogate these concepts like bipartisanship, equality, whatever, because really, in the hands of the ruling class, they're always empty. They're very vacuous, right? Because here's the thing. I'll give you guys an example. Say there are 5 people. A really tall guy, a really short person, we could even say like classified with dwarfism, an amputee, elderly person, whatever. And they all need a mode of transportation. And I give each of them the same mode of transportation. That's technically equality because I gave all 5 of you the same thing. But if I give you a mode of transportation that the dwarf or the amputee can't use, right, that's not really equitable. It's equal, but it's not equitable. There's a difference between like equity and equality. And so I look at we should be aiming for more equitable aims. That's part of, I think, interrogating the concept of equality. What kind of equality are you aiming for?
That's the difference between equality and fairness.
That's another good word. If that's what you prefer, that's fine. That's fine.
Because I remember when I was really young in school, I think I was in like 5th grade or something. Might have been a little older than that. Our teacher gave us an example of like we have a hospital, like an emergency room, waiting room, and there's one guy that has a broken finger. There's a woman who's pregnant. There's someone that has been coughing. They have a cough. There's one person that's sitting there with half of his fucking head sitting in his hand because it got chopped off somehow, like, you know, part of his skull or whatever. And then the nurse comes out, gives everyone 2 aspirin and says, here, we're treating everyone equally today, so you get to take this and go home. It's like, obviously, that's not going to fucking help anyone, right?
So, yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between equal and fair.
So, yeah, and that's fine. If people prefer, that's fine. My broader point being, we need to interrogate these concepts because we just embrace them as good. I see the left do this a lot, especially like the classical left. It's like, oh, you know, equality for all or whatever. And it's like, no, that's vacuous. Again, that's not really dealing with any substantive material content. Now, when you're talking about left and right, they act like division in and of itself is bad, right? And I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I'm preparing to do some work on it. But like, when you make it concrete and you make it material and you're saying, oh, in this particular sociological landscape, in this particular time, historically and socially, the divide is between fascists and anti-fascists, that's an ethical divide. I do think actual ethical divides exist. If you have a community with people, like if you have black people that are divided with Klansmen, that's an ethical divide. Because I can't see how you want a community literally predicated on the idea of, I like my blackness. I wish blackness was purged. Like, you can't fundamentally reconcile that, because it goes all the way down to ideology, and ideology always manifests itself materially. It manifests itself in policy. It manifests itself in governance and distribution of resources. Like, we look at the redlining of houses. Redlining affects black communities, which also mean black communities, they suffer from the environmental crises of climate change. Because I remember, it might have even been this year, I think it was last year actually, and I know your mind was blown, Ashton, and I wish I could pull it up at the ready. I should have bookmarked that shit. When I saw that TikTok about redlining and how they talked about the environmental effects, because where you redline, the properties are always like several degrees like hotter, and so, stuff like that, like they're going to deal with that effect. So when they talk about environmental racism, redlining is baked right into that. Right. So we're always talking about yeah, exactly. Like, we are always talking about, and I want the left to be even more dogmatic about this going into the new year. We are always talking about material conditions. The moment they try and take you into abstraction, which is to say platitudes, fuck them, and you bring them right back to the material conditions. Don't do kumbaya with me. Don't do kumbaya with me, because the divide we're having right now is an ethical divide. I do not need to reconcile with Nazis. I will speak, where I speak with confidence is as a disabled man. I don't like speaking about race. We've got Foster here. We've got Javaris here. We've got Abel here. They can speak for themselves. I'm a white guy. I don't like speaking about race. I try and be as good as I can, but I know I probably fall short in quite a few areas. Disability, though, you're talking to a guy that this country had a Supreme Court decision known as Buck versus Bell, which legalized the sterilization of 25,000 disabled people. You think I want to make community with a fucking eugenicist that thinks I'm better dead, that thinks I'm better if I was never born? Because, your quality of life can't be great and you're sapping state resources. No, I'm not making community with you. Fuck you. So I honestly, and I know why Revel asked, right? And I like Revel. I do. I think we have many ideological disagreements, but I low-key live for his chaotic energy. But I gotta be honest, I always fucking hate questions like this, because it's the same problem as equality and all this stuff. It doesn't get down to the core of interrogating the concept. You immediately treat divide as something bad, and you're not going deeper. Well, why are they divided? Oh, well, it's because this class wants to forcibly deport and or just outright exterminate this class. Seems like a pretty fucking ethical divide to me, right? So, we talk about these words, but we should never just let them be platitudes. There are always material conditions. There's always a genealogy of the concept. There's always a history of the concept. How did this concept develop and evolve, and where is this concept right now? And is where this concept at right now of any use to me? This is what we need to be asking all the time. So, should there not be a left or right? No, because these divisions are fundamentally ethical, they're material, and they're ideological. So absolutely, they're sensible.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it.
I think that you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I would just to sort of simplify it a little bit, I would just say, like, if at any point you find yourself between two sides of an argument, just kind of look around, and if you notice one side is full of people trying to cause harm and push people down, and specifically to innocents, and the other side is trying to protect said innocence, maybe fucking believe the side that's trying to protect innocent people rather than the side that's trying to do harm to them,
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's really all I have to say about it. Fourth question from Revel: money and power corrupts. Could you trust yourself if handed those two?
Oh God, no. I'm awful. I'm awful. No. In all seriousness, here's the thing. I don't think it would corrupt me. Where I think I couldn't be trusted is I think I would have my heart in the right place, but I would have no sense of logistics for how to get the most out of the money and the power that I have.
Right.
And I'm against centralized authority anyway. I'm hardcore decentralist. In fact, Ash and I both are, just based on that Lab Values quiz we took very recently. So yeah, like I could joke and say, oh, of course not, and I did, because I can't help myself. But if I'm answering sincerely, it's still no, but for very different reasons. I think my logistics would be a fucking mess, and I think I would completely squander the power and the money that I have. That's just me really being honest about myself and being able to engage in self-criticism. So
in this instance, I guess this is where I come off like a narcissist, because absolutely I would trust myself if handed money and power, not because I think I'm going to make the right decision, simply because the people who actually have all the power and money so consistently only care about making the right decision for themselves, and whatever decisions I would make, I would at least do it with the greater good of most people in mind. And John, you bring up logistics. I'm not trying to make decisions by myself. If I've got tons of money and power, I'm paying smarter people than me to make decisions for me.
If I could do that, then I would trust myself for sure. If I'm in a team, my trust goes up tenfold.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm like hiring I'm hiring entire science divisions to be able to do fucking, you know, studies and experiments to figure out what the best way to go about things is.
Yeah.
I'm hiring money people to make sure that I don't spend money on something that is basically just going to be fucking worthless, that doesn't actually help anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're talking about the team of scientists, I just picture the first meeting, and you're just like, so this olivine, how do we get all of it into the fucking ocean? Like, how do we just do this? And they're like, okay, well, if you look at the chart, excellent.
Yeah, give me more charts.
It's like, oh, the boner's telling me I made 100% the right decision.
Oh, this is exactly where I parked my car.
And then the scientists are looking all nervous as the door closes behind them. Help me! And then it's just like, no, you just literally saved humanity in one board meeting. But no, I get what you're saying, man. Like, yeah, that would have to be the first move I would make. It's just be like, okay, honestly, my ability to self-criticize and just revealing my own ignorance would be the first best step. And then I'd be like, okay, well, then who do I need to compensate for that?
Exactly.
And then, yeah, I agree with that shit.
That's my first step, too, is admitting that I don't know shit. So I need to find people who do and give them the resources to make what's best out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fifth and final question from Revel. Any final thoughts on Ring of Honor, if this truly was, or if this was truly their final hurrah?
Hold it in. No, I can't. Raspberry. That's my final thought. Good luck, Ring of Honor.
I feel like Ring of Honor was PWG before PWG was really a thing.
That's fair. And you know what I will say genuinely about Ring of Honor, because I don't want to leave it on that immature note. You know, I think it gave guys like Danielson and Joe like a big platform. I don't know if they'd ever get their WWE contracts if they didn't have that stint in Ring of Honor. Maybe they would have, but I don't think Ring of Honor hurt their case. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think like Ring of Honor was like kind of Impact's farm team for a couple years there, where they brought in guys like Joe and Styles and Daniels, et cetera, et cetera. I think they even got Punk for a little while.
Yeah.
And then ROH started acting like WWE's farm team with, you know, fucking Rollins and Cesaro, et cetera, Ono, that whole crew. And then ROH became New Japan's farm team with Styles and the Bucks and, you know, that whole crew, Cobb, all them. And then, like, COVID happened, and they didn't really have anyone to work with anymore because the guys that they were working with were across the fucking ocean and they had their own COVID protocols, and they were a lot stricter than the US is and all that stuff. And ever since then, Ring of Honor hasn't really been able to do too much. They've been kind of stuck. They haven't really had many opportunities to reach out or work with other companies, and it feels like their interactions with other companies has been what kept them alive for as long as they were. So it makes sense that they'd die now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next up, we have 3 questions from Rotten Butter, and the first one is the first question from Rotten Butter, and it includes 2 months because last month his questions didn't get processed right by YouTube.
Oh my Lanta. Everything.
Hawkeye,
that's my answer.
Hawkeye, Wheel of Time.
Yeah. Jingle All the Way I did with my family.
Oh, God. Did you do that since we watched the Solar Opposites holiday special?
Actually, that came before us watching the Solar Opposites holiday special.
Oh, my God. Wow. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I know.
God, that fucking movie. I hate Jamie in that movie so fucking much.
Dude. Children are the worst.
I really do. He's just such a spoiled little shit.
The way you said that. We also watched the newest Home Alone, Home Sweet Home Alone. Actually,
I heard that was awful.
I really liked it.
Oh,
This is
okay.
actually one case where I'm
Nice.
against the critics. Now, granted, do I think you or anybody would like it? I'm always hesitant to say that, honestly. I just liked how they retold the story, and I like how they humanized the burglars in this case, and it had like kind of a working class flavor to me in a way. The kid was a little shit up until the very end, and even then, I just wanted to punch him in the face just once.
Like Jamie.
Like, I don't know. I'm talking about Home Sweet Home Alone, so I think the kid's name was Alex.
No,
in Jingle All the Way, though, yeah.
I said like Jamie.
Oh, like Jamie, yeah. I think in a way he might have been a tad worse.
Oh my.
He's really a fucking smartass. I don't know. Look, guys, I'm a horrible person. If it was up to me,
was it like one of those fucking Disney shows where all the parents are morons and the kids just tell them how dumb they are all the time?
Kind of, but not really. Like, in a way it is slightly, but I just think the dude's a little shit. Like, look, guys, I'm a very simple guy. I think every Christmas you should be able to punch one kid in the face. Now, would that very quickly devolve into anarchy? Who cares?
Anarchy's a
is
good
my
thing.
answer.
What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. And if I was just being me, because I know how children are today, and a kid would just be like, oh, Merry Cringemas, I would just unload. I would just punch him in the face. I'd be like, no, you're fucking Cringemas. And then maybe kick them in the ribs. I don't know. Look, to me, I just feel like kids like Alex in this movie, you know what it comes off to me? It's very clear that you've been too safe for too long. And life needs to happen to you sooner rather than later. So, hated the kid. I hated the kid. But, great movie overall, I think. So, looking at everything else, what else did we do? Fuck. Obviously, you and I do the same games we always do. You said Wheel of Time.
Yep.
We did Owl House. Owl House is a big thing.
We did. We are completely caught up on Owl House, and I love it. Hootie is my favorite character by so far.
Yeah, Hootie's great. Okay.
It's my birthday.
I've done my usual reading. I got a Kindle for Christmas, so I'll be doing that a lot more accessibly, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did get a Kindle. And what else did you get for Christmas, John?
Well, I kind of want to bring them over to you guys and play some.
Yeah. Do it. Live on air. Do it.
Hold on. Keep them busy. Don't let dead air happen.
Okay, we're not going to have any dead air. John is going to get his Christmas present, people. You're going to get a live playing from John of his Christmas present. You're going to fucking love this. It's incredible. It sounds like he's doing some like deaf poetry jam type shit. Spoken word. This is going to be incredible. I can't wait for him to get back. In the meantime, for Christmas, I got like $360, I think, combined total, grand total, maybe somewhere around there. Maybe $370, I don't know. And what else did I get? It doesn't fucking matter because John's back. Let's hear the Christmas present.
All right. Just hold on. I'm gonna get my headphones back on. Here we are.
Here we go.
Bongos! I got bongos for Christmas.
Is how we feel about the capitalist system in the United States.
Yes. Burn it down. All right. This is where I park my minivan. Oh, Abel, you're such a dad.
Oh, I didn't know the concert was still going.
to stop because we have more questions to answer. But yes, I did get bongos. I've been trying to play them once a day. I've still been feeling under the weather, just a tad. I'm still dealing. I think I might have injured my foot or something because I tried to work out while still feeling the effects of the COVID booster. Get your booster, everybody, if you haven't.
Yeah, I saw the odds of a person dying out of 100,000. I want to say it's like 20 or no 41. I think it was out of 100,000 people die if they're unvaccinated. But then it's like 0.6 if you're fully vaccinated. But then it's 0.1 if you're fully vaccinated and have the booster. Like, it's crazy how much of a difference it is. Like,
I'm gonna live, fuckers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope I didn't annoy you guys too much by
Did you
taking
see
the constant
Foster?
look.
Pat McAfee is dancing on a table right now.
Yeah, I hope I didn't annoy you guys having the concert go a bit long, but I really do love these. Actually means a lot to me that I got
personally.
Nice. Because I know with my disability, it's been hard for me to take to an instrument. In fact, guys, I'll even give you a little bit of an inside look into me musically, because I don't talk about music in this particular way that often. If I wasn't disabled and my motor skills were actually like your guys's, I would love to play a banjo. I love how the banjo sounds. I 100% would love to do a banjo. But I don't think that'll ever happen for me. So bongos,
Banjos require
I think are
very precise plucking. You know what I think would be
Yeah.
better for you?
What's that?
A ukulele.
Everybody says that, and like I just don't like the sound of the ukulele, and so like that's why I can't.
Okay.
No,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I understand why people. I understand why people say it, but like that's exactly why I have the disconnect because it's like, oh, but I don't like it though. Whereas
That's
with the bongos, it's like I don't know how far I can take it, but even that little flicking that you heard with like the higher pitch, I learned that watching a YouTube video.
Nice.
So like I'm watching YouTube videos slowly. I try and get a little bit in each day, but you know I'm a philosopher first and foremost. So if I'm really like academic, I'm not going to have time for the bongos. But it helps me relax. I think it gets me in a good headspace. I think it's the instrument I've always looked for. So
another instrument that would pair perfectly with your bongos, though, maracas.
Yeah, there you go. I keep telling Christy I want her to, because like she's on Instagram and shit. I'm like, you should do a slam poetry reading while I give a bongo accompaniment. I think that'd be fucking baller. So yeah, bongos have been a big thing because I've loved the shit out of these. Trying to think what else. We watched the latest season of the challenge. Great season.
My mom and I have been binging through Marvel Netflix stuff. We watched all 3 seasons of Daredevil as well as Defenders. And now we've watched all of season 1 of Punisher, and we're just about halfway through season 2. And next is going to be Iron Fist season 2 because the first season is not really worth watching.
Right. Oh man, Iron Fist. What could have been?
Hey, I'm still holding out hope that we get that Heroes for Hire show with Danny and Luke. And
yes,
Jessica might actually join them because apparently Jessica Jones legitimately did join Heroes for Hire in the comics recently-ish.
My God, that'd be so amazing. Because yeah, Kristen Ritter is Jessica. I fucking love it. So I need more of that in my life.
Same.
Definitely need more of that in my life. Yeah, trying to think what else I did that was.
I mean, I know that in November we did watch Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and that was awesome.
Yes, and we did.
Since then, we've also watched Venom Let There Be Carnage. That was great.
Yes.
And I personally, John hasn't seen it yet, went to theaters and watched in 3D Spider-Man No Way Home. And since then, because I was able to watch it and realize how much more enriched the viewing experience of that movie would be if I had watched all the other Spider-Man movies leading up to it, we've been watching other Spider-Man movies so far since I've gotten back from seeing that movie. We've seen the first 3, the Raimi trilogy, both amazing Spider-Man movies. Next on our list is Captain America Civil War. Then we're going to do Homecoming, Doctor Strange, No Way Home, Infinity War, Endgame, and then hopefully by the time we're done with all that, No Way Home is available on like D+ or some shit.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Spider-Man No Way Home. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Really,
musically, I've been kind of bouncing between 2 artists for the most part over the last few weeks. Borns, I don't know if anyone knows who the hell Borns is, but he makes very like atmospheric, vibey pop music. It's so good. And Hosier, who is the guy that sings "Take Me to Church." His voice is like insanely rich and deep, and I love it. And his music is super, super chill. I love it. I went through another Hamilton phase, I think at the beginning of the month this month. And yeah, mostly other than that, I pretty much just listen to like new and current, like popular music.
Yeah, what did I do musically this month? Because I know some good stuff came out. I
Well,
listened to
you're
some Kevin
always
Gates.
posting these crazy lyrical rap videos in the Discord music channel.
I know. I've really stepped up my game in that way. I know. I know. Dax did like a 20-minute just like freestyle, which was insane. He is so good. And we even listened to some of his Christmas stuff on Christmas Day, my family and I, because I think I actually turned my family on to Dax, so that was a pretty cool thing for me that I
Here's one:
influenced them for a change.
Naked May Mueller. I don't know. Polo G Better Days. You posted that.
Yeah.
Unapologetic
That was
by
one. Yeah.
Polo G. You posted.
Polo G, which by the way, I doubt anybody in the music community will listen to these, but anybody that's like Polo G, more like Piano G, how is that even a diss? The dude can play an instrument. Can you play an instrument? This isn't the goddamn kazoo, you level 1 piece of shit. So yeah, like, lay off the dude. He's fucking, I think he's great. I know he's not for everybody because I think, he is more of a melodic rapper, but I like his stuff. I don't like everything he does, but he has good stuff. And yeah, Better Days is good shit. And his verse is fucking awesome on there. What else? Again, Kevin Gates did some stuff that I listened to. I love fucking Kevin Gates. He once did an interview where the interviewer was like, hey, so what are some rappers that you're excited about? And he's like, oh, I heard about this great artist named Kevin Gates. Fucking love it.
That's exactly the type of response that would make you love someone.
I know.
It's just so you. I feel like I can imagine Seth Rollins giving that kind of answer so quickly.
Yeah, Joyner Lucas. Did I listen to any Joyner Lucas in the past 2 months? I probably have. A Lil Baby. I think I've listened to some stuff. Yeah, man, this is a great year for me in rap music. Oh, I listened to Who I Smoke a few more times. Which, by the way, did anybody know that Vanessa Carlton was a member of Murder Inc? Just putting that out there. I think that's really fucking cool.
Can't say.
Yeah, like, and she stood up for black artists because when everybody tried to go to her to be like, oh, but he's using your song, and she's like, okay, and how many fucking white people use black music and we never say anything? It's like, fuck off.
Wait, was that in response to Terry Crews lip syncing her song in Mean Girls?
No, this was in response to the Who I Smoke video because these guys did a music video on a fucking golf course using 1,000 miles, and she's like, I literally don't care, and the main singer of it.
Yeah. Wow.
Spin Benzie was like, I got you forever. So Vanessa Carlton goes hard. And I learned, too, that just certain black reactors that I listen to, like No Life Jacket stuff, he's like, man, we spring clean to this shit. So, like, yeah, I think they got a lot of love for,
that is amazing.
For Vanessa Carlton.
Holy shit, yeah. I love that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so Vanessa Carlton, she's in. She's in.
I mean, and like, been new, right? Y'all seen White Chicks? That fucking Terry Crews singing his head off to that song. I love that scene. That was, like, the funniest scene in that movie by so much.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I love the song,
movie,
too.
Right, John?
I think I have. Yeah, I think haven't we even watched it together, I feel like.
Maybe.
We might have.
I honestly don't know.
We've watched so many movies, dude. Speaking of, we watched Encanto last night. So
we did. That movie really is magical. It's so sweet, and the animation is incredible. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a Disney movie with more realistic looking animated characters than Encanto.
Yeah, dude, the animation was great. I think the story was great. Really good film there. Yeah, and we're even rewatching just to prep for my viewing of No Way Home. We did Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. We did the Sam Raimi trilogy.
I don't know if you heard me or not.
Oh, I must not have heard you. I apologize. But yeah, just to kind of recap, because between 2 months, I mean, my God, that's so much shit. And yeah, I think I'm just going to stop there then. Yeah, I really can't think of anything else at present. So unless Ashton has anything else he wants to add, we can get to the next Rotten Butter question.
All right, next Rotten Butter question then is, what are your thoughts on John Oliver and Last Week Tonight?
I don't watch him as much as I used to. I do think he's funnier than like fucking Colbert. Or I know Stewart's like back in the game, but he's doing like different stuff. I do think he's better than
Trevor
those
Noah.
guys. Oh my God, Trevor Noah. I don't like him at all, but that's a separate thing. Yeah, so I think he's good at what he does. I think he brings awareness to a lot of issues, but I still think ultimately, like, obviously he's caught in that like liberal framework, at most social democratic framework, which is still at bottom reformist. So it's keeping the structures in place. But I do think he's the best of the bunch, if that accounts for anything. Like, I love how he uses his platform. I think the funniest thing he did in recent memory, he wanted to get like, he was talking about cereals and making cereals fun again, because he's like, there are no fun cereals, and he's like, Cheerios, you're the most boring cereal, and like, he was kind of taunting their Twitter account, and he was making fun of some of their tweets, because I think they had one tweet where it's like, breakfast makes the good go round, and he's like, what the fuck does that even mean, or whatever, and he's like, Cheerios, I will donate $100,000 to a charity of your choosing if you, on your official Twitter account, tweeted a random stranger and say, fuck you. And Cheerios ended up having a back and forth with Oliver, and I think some money ended up going to charity. So I think he uses his platform in a very creative way. Again, I do still think he's caught in more of that reformist ideology at bottom, but I enjoy him, and it's good content, and I'm able to see it for what it is. So yeah, I think Last Week Tonight's a good service. I think its biggest thing is it brings a lot of awareness to things even I didn't know about. So, thumbs up for that, I guess.
Yeah, I think Last Week Tonight has a very serious audience problem, just in the sense that, like, people who watch Last Week Tonight are people who already know they're going to enjoy it. Like, John Oliver isn't convincing anyone that wouldn't otherwise buy into what he's saying of anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, it's like he's just preaching to the choir. And it's entertaining, don't get me wrong, and he does bring some things to light that maybe not everyone watching his show knows about. But for the most part, it really is just like kind of a circle jerk. And that's why I just can't really get into it anymore. Like, it's kind of similar to, like, let's own these dumbass Republicans on Twitter and laugh at them, when really all that does is just cause more harm than good.
Right. And that I think it's the same kind of problem he shares with Stewart and Colbert, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the conservatives said this thing, but only 5 months ago they said this thing, and we've said repeatedly on this podcast, they do not care because they have the power, which is what they do care about.
Yeah.
Now, granted, where I do think Oliver is better than these guys is he actually does give some practical solutions, again, completely within a reformist framework. But it's like when FCC was the hot topic because of net neutrality, fill up FCC's forms, like contact forms, take the site down, like overwhelm them, stuff like that. Tweet at this person, tweet at your representatives like this thing, get a hashtag going to bring awareness. And I think he actually has done changes to some things. I couldn't name anything off the top of my head if you pressed me. But again, I do agree with Ashton. I think he actually put it well about the circle jerk problem. I think the most people that watch him are people that already agree with him. I'd like to know his conversion rate personally. I'd like to know how many right-wingers watch your show and are actually convinced by what you're saying, or are you pandering to admittedly a very wide but still ultimately niche audience of like liberals or whatever.
Yeah,
so
pretty much. That's
I think it's a fair point.
That's how I think he's doing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah, for sure.
Third question from Rotten Butter: why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Yes, 100% yes.
Next set of questions are from Jackie, who I believe is here, actually. I know she was. I don't know if she still is. First question. She only has 4, not 5. Even though she could have asked 5, she only asked 4. But first question, would you guys ever get a third host for TWitWoW?
I already saw the discussion about this in the Discord. Here's the thing. I'm against third hosts, but I've even told Ashton in the past, like years ago, and I still kind of stand on this, just because I know sometimes, like, I'll have conferences or something happening. I don't mind guest hosts. Like, I feel like you and Abel doing an episode of something would be fucking adorable. I'd love that shit. But as a permanent host, no. It's a 2-person dynamic.
Yeah.
Do I mind fill-ins, though, and would I encourage fill-ins? Like, if, say, I'm, like, at an event, a philosophy event, and I'm like, oh, Ashton, I'm going 3 days. And he's like, oh, dude, but this is supposed to be the big show, whatever. I wouldn't mind, because I want TWitWoW to be on that, to have, like, an Abel or a Foster or somebody that we both really like and trust, and be like, hey, come on here and give your reactions, whatever. I'm still, to this day, all for that. But again, and even then, and I should really stress this, it would only be for people that we both mutually really liked and trusted. And then again, I'm speaking solely for myself here. I'm not saying this is a policy going into effect. I'm answering a question. But even then, it would be like, okay, who do we trust? And I know it'd be a very short list, but I'd be like, okay, let's see how it works out. I'm for that because I hate when we have to have dead air because either maybe he has something, and usually it's me, when I'm like, oh, Ash, I'm doing this philosophy conference, or I've got this family thing, and I hate us missing on shit, but I also don't want life to slow down. So I'm a guy that I like to juggle all the balls when I can. So no to any permanent host, but I'll always be in favor of a fill-in when I'm in a tight spot or whatever, and we can't miss something. Just so that we occupy that space for sure. I'm always pragmatic that way. So that's where I'm at.
This is one instance where like I'm more black and white. It's just no. There's never going to be a third host. It's just the two of us. That's it. Period. End of story.
Yeah. So. All right. Next question.
Do you ever think you will phase WWE out of your reaction/review lineup completely?
Oh yeah. Again, I'm another emphatic yes. It's always an ongoing conversation. The idea that we did the steep cut that we did, I think it'll be a long time before we phase it out completely. But I think after even us having the courage to make the steep cut, never say never. Because they could do something so egregious that we're just like, no, it's not even worth it anymore. I believe that. Because if we did it once, we can do it again. So I'm not saying we're doing it now or in the near future. But if you're asking, could we ever do it?
Yeah.
Ever being the operative word? Hell the fuck yes.
Yep.
Hell the fuck yes.
Complete agreement there for sure.
Yeah.
Third question from Jackie. When Vince McMahon dies, what happens to the company?
See, now this is where it gets interesting because this is the question I was alluding to when I answered another question. I think it was Hypothesis question about like WWE's future and stuff. I think it goes to Stephanie personally, and probably Triple H too. But I emphasize Stephanie because I even saw a transcript from some interview. I don't know if it was from a referee or whatever. I think it might have been Kyoto or something, where he talked about how there was like a lot of bad blood in the McMahon family because Shane left. Now, here's the thing. You can put on a facade, a lot of public families do, but I guarantee you there was probably a lot of infighting, and Stephanie wanted to fight for her share. And I think the difference was when Shane left to go do his own company and stuff like that, and good for Shane. He's probably the McMahon I hate the least because I've never really heard any negative stuff about him. I think he just wants to help the business. Yeah, be one of the boys in his own glorified way, but still, if that's the worst thing he's done, I can forgive it personally.
Right.
Stephanie, though, I think because she stayed, she's like, no, this goes to me now. Like, I was here. You weren't here, so Shane, you can fuck off. My husband, yeah, I'll bring him in, but, like, I'm the McMahon here. I think it goes to Stephanie 100%. And honestly, I see Triple H more in an advisory role than anything. It's like, you know, like, you can consult, but I'd like final say on it. That's how I see it. I'd be curious if Ashton disagrees with me, but I see Stephanie getting a majority share, to put it as succinctly as possible, and really taking the reins.
I don't know, man. I think there's a chance that it's Stephanie, but I also, at this point, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if it was Nick Khan.
Really interesting. Interesting.
He seems to kind of be Vince's go-to guy right now.
If it goes to... I just can't imagine that if it went to a non-McMahon that there wouldn't be a power struggle internally. Like, we wouldn't be privy to it. But
what I really would expect, even if it did go to Stephanie, whether it goes to Stephanie or Nick Khan or whoever, Vince dies, I think that's the end of the company being owned by a singular person. I think that's like it gets sold to a corporation like Disney or fucking, you know, UFC or like Universal or what the fuck ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm honestly surprised other companies haven't tried doing that, like being the aggressor in that case, like trying to like buy WWE in that way.
Well, we don't know.
Maybe that's true. That's true. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But yeah, I think Ashton makes a really good point too. Like we have to understand the landscape that we're in. Disney, I think, and I know it's kind of become a meme low-key in a way, but if they're going to buy a property and they're going to find a way to make a property work for them, they do it. Like, dude, I say this kind of as a joke, but say Disney acquired WWE, right? You can't tell me that they wouldn't try and find a way to make WrestleMania a Disney World attraction. Dude, like bringing those two big things together.
Dude,
like
unironically, as much as I hate the idea of a monopoly getting even bigger, if Disney would be able to be the one to buy WWE, the product would improve about 15-fold within a year.
Yeah.
Because Disney would actually give a fuck about writing compelling content, even if it is just so that they can pander to a specific audience. If they're pandering to a specific audience, it's sure as fuck not going to be the 60-something-year-olds that Vince panders to right now. It's going to be 18 to 35. It's going to be like basically imagine a PG version of the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hell, because Disney can go to PG-13, it's probably going to be more of a PG-13 version of the Attitude Era. Like, we're not going to see titties, and we're not going to probably get like anyone flipping anyone off, and we're probably not going to have that much swearing, but we'll probably still get some hells and shits and dams, but no fucks and probably very few bitches. Maybe a bitch or two like they do now around WrestleMania season, building to big women's matches or whatever. But like, Disney owning WWE as a if you're a WWE fan, or if you're more like us and you're somebody who wants WWE to just be a good fucking show, Disney buying the company is the best possible thing that you can hope for. Because Disney does not fuck around with their writing. Like, as long as they're not handing the product to like Disney Channel sitcom writers, it's going to improve 10, 15 fold within a year, like I said.
Dude, I'm even imagining the crossover appeal. Disney would make wrestling mainstream again.
Right? I'm saying, like, if you are just straight up rooting for the WWE as a brand, there is nothing better that can happen to it than it being bought by Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, like, because I'm even picturing, because, like, they would really treat wrestling, like, on the character side.
Yeah.
They would like, yeah.
Dude, the way that they've built up Marvel and all of these Marvel characters, they would do the same thing with wrestling. They would basically turn the WWE into another Marvel. They would basically have each individual character they would maximize how marketable everyone is. They would make damn sure that everyone interacts with everyone, and they would make sure that they would make everyone have some kind of selling point that can be some kind of a draw or an attraction to some subset of the people that's in their target audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, I hate how right and how true that is.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
And if Vince dies,
yeah.
my main thing is if Vince dies, whether it does go to Stephanie or Nick Khan or whoever the fuck, none of them is going to want to bear the burden that Vince has been bearing this whole time. Like, if it's Stephanie, she's going to be mourning the death of her father. She's not going to want to have to run the fucking day to day, right? If it's Nick Khan, he's probably been wanting to sell the whole time, and he's just going to go through with his agenda. Like, at the end of the day, Vince dies, I don't think WWE lasts more than another, like, a year after that before it gets sold to a major corporation. And to me, it really does come down to either Disney or Universal, because they already have the Peacock deal in place.
Yeah, I almost have to wonder if we're getting really into the meta, right? And we're getting into, like, the weeds of, like, real life and all that stuff. Oh. I don't even want to say what my thought was now.
Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
But no, like, I always have to wonder if we're getting into, like, that side of things.
Yeah.
If why Vince is, like, so heavily involved in Austin Theory and stuff like that is because he wants to make one more top guy before he calls it quits.
Oh, God.
Like, I wonder if Austin Theory is, like, his last big project.
Right.
I wonder. I wonder it.
There's only one way to find out, and that would be requiring us to continue watching it. Fuck that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, but he's 76, and with his regiment and his resources, he'll go for another 20 fucking years. This is such an irrelevant goddamn question.
As well. Holy shit, we had the same thought. Wow.
Yeah, it's happening.
Fourth and final question from Jackie. In this area, or in this era, I would assume, of budget cuts and tighter control, do you think it's inevitable that the WWE is going to sell off their movie and music studios?
Yeah, I'm amazed they even still have a movie studio, because, like, damn, like...
Right? Like, have they...
I didn't think they got their money back at all.
Wasn't... Let me check something real quick. They produced a horror movie that was actually really, really popular and really well received. I'm just trying to remember what it was. Was it Oculus? Did that do well? Not really. I could have sworn there was something. Maybe not. Okay, I'm tripping. Never mind. No, yeah, they suck. So Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely the music studio, because what the fuck do they even do? But I guess the WWE music, obviously, they're gonna want to keep releasing theme songs, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
yeah,
like
it's
the
true.
same umbrella as whatever the fuck else. I don't know. But yeah, like I don't know. The movie studio's never really been successful, but they also have never really like lost a ton of money either. So I don't know. I just it's one of those things where they make cheap enough movies that they keep profiting even though they're shitty movies.
Yeah, yeah. Ugh.
Did you have anything else to say, or we just want to move on here to our next set of
No, no,
questions?
because yeah, I think where I'm at again is just I never really thought they got the return on their investment in their film studio and their music. I mean, I'm just gonna be real. It's taken such a hit since even CFOs left. Like I had my problems with CFOs, but they were even better than I think what we've got now. Like it's just been the death of iconic themes.
There
That would
have
be
been like
another
three
way.
really good themes since CFO's left, and they all sound the exact fucking same. Like it's Seth Rollins, Bailey, Roman. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's another area where I feel like Disney would like really elevate WWE. Sorry to go
Yep.
back to that question, but I'm just thinking like think about the composers they have on hand.
Yep.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. All right. So they bring in fucking Lin Manuel Miranda to write these songs.
Oh no, no, no.
Okay, I'm moving on. Next set of questions are from Abel. First up, do you have any 2022 goals?
Adopting you for one. Um,
Oh, as a family.
you know what? You said that so perfectly you could stay.
Wait. If I didn't say it perfectly, were you going to send me to my room?
Of course you need discipline. Um,
Asshole.
okay, mind your tone.
Well, mind your
Um,
face.
you don't mean it. You're coming out this way because you're wounded.
I'm
Um,
not even wounded. I'm just upset at you for being such a dick sometimes.
well, I mean, you said it properly, so let's take the win.
That's a
So,
bad process, and I'm a process guy.
okay, simmer down. Um, so yeah, adopting you for one, for sure. Um, seeing my mom's a big one. That's one I've had a lot on my mind this year or next year. Being more fiscally responsible for sure. I've got financial plans, give back to my family, to my house. I'd like to get back in the game philosophy wise, do more conferences, get published more. It was kind of a weak year for me this year. Next year, I'm already going to come out the gate swinging because my colleague Brian Van Orden and I were coming out with something we're really excited about in a Wiley Blackwell volume. They're doing a companion on public philosophy. Really excited about our chapter. So yeah, just professionally, I want to keep doing that. I want to keep financially supporting Stardom more as it relates to this channel. That kind of goes in with the fiscal responsibility. I want to be able to buy their pay-per-views more. I want to be able to improve their, their income, their cash flow, whatever. So that's a big thing. I definitely want to work out more, stay a healthier course. I've hated that I've been like really sedentary these past 2 days because of the booster, and because I think I again injured my foot because I tried to push myself too hard. So I'm just kind of resting and taking it easy, and I hate it. Like I've gotten really used to like moving around and being active. So I definitely want to keep that energy. What else? What else? Um, it is going to start my 30s next year. So I know a personal thing that I definitely will be doing for my birthday is try a deprivation tank out. So that's definitely like a short term goal that I'm pretty sure is happening. I've been fascinated by deprivation tanks for years, so it'll be nice to scratch that itch. Get better at the bongos, and yeah, I think I'll stop myself there. I probably have more goals that I haven't thought of, but yeah, just that's where I'm at right now. What about you, friend?
Gym membership, which then kind of goes along with wanting to lose a certain amount of weight. Um, I really, really want to get some fully updated spreadsheets on the NFL and college football, and do more work on that before the draft. Let's see what else. Um, yeah, I think that about covers it for me. Those are the big ones. I'm sure I'll come up with more later, but for right now, Those are the ones that I really foresee. You know.
Excellent. I believe in you, friend. I
I
think
will
it's going to be
say
a good year for both
one
of
that
us.
I kind of have that I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to pull off this coming year is to try and automate some of the process as far as collecting data for my spreadsheets goes, because that's the worst part of them. So
That would be cool if you could figure that out. I'm rooting for you.
yeah. All right. Second question from Abel: do you plan on voting in the 2022 midterms? And how do you see them playing out for the Repubs and the Dems?
Honestly, no. No, I'm really burnt out, and I think they've really got to earn my vote. And to earn my vote, they'd have to be the exact opposite of what they are. Because here's the thing, guys. If there was a progressive candidate in my area, which I don't even think there will be, so that's even more disincentive, right? But even if there was a progressive candidate, because they did this shit to Nina Turner when she ran, I think this year. If there was a progressive candidate running in my area, the fundraising against her and the misinformation campaign that they would levy against the progressive candidate would be so immense that there'd be no chance. There'd be no chance. Like, it's crazy because when Nina didn't have to worry about that, probably because they didn't perceive her as a threat, she was winning by a really good margin. And then when they finally registered that, like, oh shit, we could lose this, they poured money out the ass. They defamed her as being against Medicare for all, which was egregious and ludicrous. Because you could listen to any like speech or whatever, any interview she's given. She's always said like Medicare for all, living wage, et cetera, et cetera. And so they do all this stuff. And the fucking corporate liberal, like maybe even centrist candidate, beat Nina Turner in the end. And it was so fucking disheartening. Because again, I even have my problems with the progressive class. You guys know that. I kind of answered that in prior questions about like my problem with social democrats. But still better than fucking neoliberals, better than center right liberals, all that stuff, which is what I would classify Joe Biden as. So yeah, they have to earn my vote, and the way to earn my vote is to actually give, at the very least, a progressive candidate a viable shot, and they never fucking do that. So no, I'm not playing their fucking game. They can fuck off. And especially too, Maggie Hassan can go fuck herself, who's actually one of my Congress people, because she voted against $15 minimum wage. So yeah, fuck off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I haven't really made my mind up yet, personally. I'm still kind of waiting because I still have this glimmer of hope that they're going to use their 2022 reconciliation bill to do some actual good things that they couldn't get through last year. But at this point, Manchin might as well just be a fucking Republican. He's what they call a Dino, a Democrat in name only at this point. Um, and really, we can barely even call the Senate 50-50 split anymore. The Republicans are practically already back in control of it because of Manchin and to a lesser degree Kristen Sinema. Um, and really, all projections that I'm seeing from like 538 and stuff are showing that Republicans are going to have a pretty fucking strong showing at the midterms. And at that point, it just feels like, what can I do about it?
I mean, dude, I don't even know if this is accurate, so forgive me, because I want us to have sensible, rational conversations. But it really does have the same energy as when Trump ran the first time against Hillary. It's like, you Dems haven't fucking learned anything. You're putting candidates in front of us that are for you and not for us, and we know exactly why that is. We don't need to go into that. But it's like, and then you get mad at us. Like, dude, I swear to God, like, and I hope I don't ruffle any feathers the wrong way, because I know I still have friends that love and admire Obama, like, oh, my president. But I'm really getting sick and tired of Obama doing these speeches for fucking lame duck candidates, how we need to do our job and that we can't expect everything to be solved. Dude, I'm not asking for everything to be solved, but you see it, right? You see how on fire everything fucking is. You're telling me you can't even put one fire out? Fuck you. Like, what's happening here? What's happening here? Like, I feel like when he talks and he lectures us about how we're not showing up, that is some serious structural gaslighting, my man. Like, I am not here for that. I am not here for that. They can get all the way fucked. So yeah, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame your rationale, and I'm not even blaming my own rationale, because I know I'm very angry, but I and many others have a right to be angry. Get your shit together, Dems. Jesus Christ.
Oh, we know they won't. All right, let's move
Yeah.
on. Third question from Abel: how do you rate Joe Biden's presidency thus far? Well, on a scale where your Trumps and your Reagans are a 1, and your JFKs, or not JFKs, your FDRs, or really just your FDR, because I don't think anyone's ever come close to being as good of a president as he was, is a 10. Biden's like a solid 9, 9.5. Like he's on a very very low bar scale of the best presidents, because let's not forget that like FDR, as much as he did for the economy and shit, he still had the Japanese internment camps and still didn't really do much as far as helping black people and women and disabled people and just all kinds of different problems that he just didn't bother to try and solve, because he was more kind of focusing on broad stroke problems, trying to get people minimum wage and social security benefits and stuff like that. But yeah, Biden is up there. I really do genuinely think through 1 year that Biden is already one of the most progressive presidents of all time. Not even because he's actually really doing anything that spectacular, but just because he's not doing the stupid shit that fucking Trump was doing, and because the little things like COVID. We're still like, I don't know if anyone else in chat here uses food stamps, but I know that food stamps have been continuously basically getting maxed out. So people who are on food stamps, you normally have the designated amount of food stamps that you can get on a designated day. You get those and you don't get any for the rest of the month. But for the last like year and a half or something like that, like it started with Trump, believe it or not, people have been getting the maximum amount of food stamps, where they'll get their designated amount on their specific day, but then towards the end of the month, they will get whatever the maximum amount of food stamps is minus the designated amount that they already got for that month in one big lump sum at the same time per month. So like,
Yeah.
that's really fucking cool. I'm glad that that's kept going on. It's kind of weird that there hasn't been a fourth stimulus check when the third one was so fucking pathetic. Because like there were so many people complaining, like, oh, like, can we just put into perspective that Donald Trump and his regime actually gave out more worth of stimulus checks than Biden did? Because Trump did the $1,200 check and then the $600 check, and then Biden came in and he was like, oh, you already got $600 from my regime, so here's the rest of that 2,000 in the form of a $1,400 check. But really, that was the Trump campaign. That was the Trump regime that did the $600 checks. So Trump did 1,800 in total, and Biden's only done 1,400 in total. So like, that's like weird. But like, yeah, I don't really know what else to say, honestly. I just feel like, the really not even just Biden specifically. I mean, I know he's done some really good executive order stuff, but there's still so much more that he could do as far as like student debt and shit goes. Yeah, there's a lot to be desired, but I don't know. I feel like he's still been like doing more good than bad for the most part, even though he's definitely done a lot of bad too.
Um.
I want to know what your number is on a scale from Reagan to FDR. Where you would rank Biden?
Fuck. Because I want to be honest, but I can't help but be me, right? So.
And really, after everything I just said, I feel like I would lower my number down to like an 8 rather than a 9. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
To get a baseline, where would you put Obama on the 1 to 10 scale here?
Oh, fuck him so hard. You know what? Fuck baselines. I'm not even going to answer that. I just want to focus on the task at hand.
Okay.
I'll give him a 7, maybe.
Okay.
Here's why. Really, really amazing that he withdrew from Afghanistan. However, I have to be very quick to add this asterisk. Apparently, he's still doing sanctions against them, which, like, that's still violence. In a way that's continuing. It's almost turning the war into, like, a shadow war, right? Because you don't have boots on the ground, but you're still materially affecting the course of the nation when you're starving the population and stuff like that. So that's my view on that. You almost kind of hamper the biggest victory that you had, in my mind. Because I even said to myself, when I saw that the withdrawal was actually happening, and I'll give Biden credit on that front as far as taking physical boots off the ground. The whole media turned on him. I don't know if you guys noticed this, because I'm really not trying to sound like tinfoil John over here, but I seriously noticed it, and it kind of fucked me up a little bit. The moment he said, we're going out of Afghanistan, I saw a lot more YouTube videos in my recommended about how ISIS was doing stuff in Afghanistan and more stuff about Afghanistan. Like, I feel like we didn't hear about Afghanistan for years. The moment he says, oh, we're done, we're not doing imperialism things, at least we're not doing imperialism things with as emphatic a presence on the ground, right? They're like, oh, no, but the women, but the ISIS, and like all these videos and shit. And I'm like, wow, you're really telling on yourselves because you have gotten your nose so far up his ass. And that's why I'm going to say something controversial here. And I might regret this, but Ashton's even said, he's gone on record and said, I like when people can hear our politics. Well, there's a good and a bad to that. We might be about to see the bad of that. I really am kind of tired of the crocodile tears that corporate media had during the Trump years of like, oh, he's calling us fake news and this and that, because I don't know, maybe you sort of kind of had it coming. Because really your primary function is to manufacture consent. That's what they did in the Iraq War. There was never any weapons of mass destruction. Like, Bush and his administration knew that. But Bush, who was heavily conservative, as was his administration, the whole media, including liberal media, went along with it. Oh, Saddam's awful. Oh, we need to stop these weapons. And now you're doing the same fucking thing in Afghanistan. They're talking about how, like, all this fucking stuff's happening. They had a military that I guess was, like, U.S. trained that would, like, saw ISIS come in. And it's like, oh, fuck, you know, we're not doing anything. And maybe an organic Afghani revolution could have happened if there wasn't so much U.S. involvement in the first place. But no, let's put it all on the fucking guy. Like, that's why I'm like, fuck the media, man. Like, I get that we need real journalism. And I get that defunding actual journalism stuff is dangerous. I am specifically talking about corporate media that wanted to act like they did something during the Trump years when you literally platform the dude 24/7. In fact, if we really want to be honest and have a real conversation, in my opinion, a big reason why he won the presidency, they gave him nonstop airtime for free. Because he was the guy, right? Like, he was giving them their ratings because he was so off the wall with how he talked about his colleagues and about the Dem opposition who wouldn't eat that shit up. But that's precisely your problem. There's no integrity in your fucking journalism. And you want to talk to me about Trump was mean to this guy and he said he's fake news. Well, maybe because he fucking is. Because maybe he was one of those people that back in 2001 was like, oh, yeah, the Iraqis, they need help. We need to liberate them. And they say the same thing about Syria. They're saying the same thing about fucking Cuba all this time later. Like, it just, fuck you. So I know the question was about Biden, so let me reorient myself. It was very courageous of him with a whole media infrastructure that leans very heavily imperialist, very heavily interventionist, to still say, we're doing this. Like, he said, like, this is our generation's Vietnam, and, like, I can't continue it, you know, once more. I actually listened to his speech, and I'm like, wow. Don't really like the sanctions, because I think you should just leave Afghanistan alone completely. You know, let them be self-determining and figuring it out. And I know that's easier said than done, but, you know, U.S. interventionism hasn't done fucking shit. Really don't like how lukewarm they've been on student debt, because they keep extending the moratorium. But as one tweet succinctly put it, if you have the power to extend it, you have the power to cancel it. Just fucking cancel it. Yeah. But they don't want to fundamentally challenge power. I agree with you on the food stamps. That's cool stuff. As a food stamp beneficiary myself, that's been very nice to see. The emergency allotments are still continuing and everything for COVID.
It would be nice if we got like a concrete idea of when they were going to run out. Because like I feel like every month it's like a next level of anxiety, wondering whether we're going to see them next month until that like finally like the document goes through, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's another reason that I want to, like, be more fiscally responsible on my end, because I know the day is going to come that they're going to run out, but it always surprises me when I open that letter every month and it's like, oh, you've got an emergency allotment, oh, you've got an emergency allotment. I'm like, oh, it's still going. I think the vaccination efforts by them have been okay, although recently that kind of took a back step for me, because when a journalist, in one of the few instances of good journalism, right, after I just railed against it for so many minutes, when they're like, oh, why can't they just have an at-home, like, COVID test? And then Psaki almost like mock the question as if that was totally unfeasible. But I think actually it's totally doable. Like, the logistics are there. They just choose not to do it. And
yeah, well,
I think
I
even
understand, aren't at-home COVID tests fucking expensive as shit right now too?
They're expensive as shit, but so is the fucking military budget, and they always find the money.
No.
Like,
I'm saying, like, though, like for an individual to buy.
For an individual to buy, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. But then again, I think that goes back to something else that you said. As far as economics go, when you have to make decisions with money, why isn't that? Why? I still don't understand why stimulus checks haven't been fucking recurrent. And, like, I guarantee you, if they had been recurrent, I'd actually be very curious the kind of economic picture we'd be looking at right now, rather than just like, oh, you got these and really hold on to it as long as you can, because there's not going to be any, like, ever. That just really fucking sucks. So yeah, I think overall I'd give him a 7 because I think there has been stable. And again, I should say too, and really emphasize this, I'm giving him a 7 based on this is the system we have, not the system I want, and I'm trying to be fair. I'm really trying to be fair. I think withdrawing from Afghanistan was worth my vote alone. Kind of hampered it with sanctions. Food stamps is great. Really disappointed about student loans. Like, just fucking cancel it, dude. Oh, also, actually, you know what? I'm going to take my grade down to a 6 because I just remembered around Thanksgiving time when another rare instance of actual journalistic practice. They said, oh, you know, you said you were going to do something about drug offenses, but you haven't pardoned any drug offenses. Or are you still going to do that? And I think it was at the pardoning turkey ceremony. And Biden made a joke like, oh, what, you need a pardon? Or you got a family need a pardon? And then after his chuckle, like, I'm hilarious, he said, no, that's not happening. So we still have nonviolent drug offenders rotting away in a system that's inherently violent because they fucking toked on a blunt in a place maybe where they shouldn't have. So fuck that. And I'm going to dock him a whole point for that, actually, because I just remember that. So 6 out of 10. And I think, honestly, given how fucking up my own ass I can be with politics, that's actually really generous. So I'm sticking with a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question from Abel. What are your thoughts on COVID cases spiking recently? It's just Omicron, right? Like, Omicron is super, super virulent. It's really, like, it's super contagious, spreads super easily. The good news being it really is what fucking conservatives have been saying that regular COVID is for the last year and a half, which is like a fucking flu. Like, it's really mild compared to actual COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty much have the same thoughts as Ashton. Really nothing to add there. So next question.
What do you think we as a society, or why? Why do you think we as a society are so divided on so many key issues?
Okay, I'm going to give kind of a controversial answer. Actually, no, I've been going first on a lot of these. Do you want to go first?
I will happily go first on this, yeah.
Sure.
So, as somebody who was very selfish, very self centered, very self serving, um, really kind of stuck in almost like a first person perspective where I kind of felt like I was the main character of life. Um, Someone who didn't really take the time to try and look at or think about anybody else's problems and only really worried about my own. And this is going back to like high school, college days. Um, I can fully understand why there are so many people who are like that, who are uh, really like, oh, racism isn't real, sexism isn't real, it's all in your head, all of these problems, you're making them up, it's just, oh, women get paid less money because they choose lower paying jobs, and oh, this and oh, that, all that shit, right? All the shit that basically Republicans kind of sucker you in with is really easy to believe because it's convenient, because it doesn't challenge you. It doesn't require you to challenge your own way of thinking. It doesn't require you to really consider how good you've got it, because everyone is always more comfortable feeling like they have been somehow held down or held back, or had a boot on them for their entire lives. They are a victim somehow. But at the end of the day, it takes a certain amount of effort and a certain amount of sort of uh, discomfort, I think is the best word for it, to really kind of see things for how they are, and to be able to kind of admit, like, okay, yeah, I have had it pretty good. I have had a privileged life. There are people who are much less fortunate than me, who could use more help than I could. And because that's challenging, it makes it a lot less likely that people are going to do it. The easy thing to do, and people who kind of live life on easy mode, or at least would prefer this portion of their lives to be as easy as possible, will just watch the news on TV, take it at face value, and just believe it, and that'll just be their philosophy from then on. Whether they decide to watch, NBC or CNBC or CBS or ABC, and they decide to be sort of a centrist by U.S. standards, which is really still fucking right wing, or if they watch Fox News and they go down the alt-right pipeline, whatever. It really is just kind of the easy way. It really is. It's just kind of like, oh, the information comes to you, no matter how wrong or egregious it is. The information comes to you in the form of loud, confident people who genuinely are trying to convince you that they are the correct people. So really, I think the biggest thing that it comes down to is brainwashing, and whether someone is kind of, we call it false consciousness, actually. Basically, whether someone gets kind of dragged into that or sucked into that, or whether they have, like I said earlier, the willingness to be challenged and uncomfortable enough to kind of acknowledge, like, okay, things aren't okay. I'm, very much in a position of privilege, and there are people out there who need help and they're not getting it. And the longer that I sit around and do nothing, the more harm is being caused, and something has to change. It's really it's not an easy realization to have, and a lot of the time people would do anything just to avoid having that realization, because the longer that they can go without it, the longer they can stay comfortable and stay in their comfort zones and not have to be challenged, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's the main reason why there is such a strong divide between so many quote unquote key issues, really between left and right, or between, your quote unquote liberals and the alt right, et cetera, and leftists. I think the main reason is just because some people consume media, some people don't, and the people who do consume media are kind of divided between the alt right and like the centrist liberal types. And those are like, I don't know, it's like, it basically is a matter of like, who have you been brainwashed by? And it depends on that kind of thing. That's really all I can say. I'm gonna stop and let John kind of take over from here.
I think Ashton made a lot of salient points. I almost wish I could just say like ditto and move on, but there is something I do want to emphasize slash add. Because again, these are issues I've been thinking a lot about lately. I'm hoping to actually do something with these exact issues this year, philosophy-wise, but I'm not gonna get into that at this time. I don't want to get into that at this time. So I'll keep it more political. How can I put this?
It's tough, right?
It is, because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but I do have something I want to say. There is legitimate divide, right? I mentioned a case of legitimate divide earlier. When you look at like hard alt-right and say like somebody that's like black or Hispanic or disabled, that's a legitimate ideological divide. There are legitimate ideological divides. However, I think the twist that I want to put on it, because I've kind of talked about those divides to death already, I do think there's a lot of common ground among all political factions, actually, when you look at material economic concerns. Like, I'll give a perfect example as an entry point into what I mean. You look at Build Back Better, which if that would actually get passed, hell, if it got passed in its original form at 10 trillion, that would have made Biden the greatest president in the last, like 40 fucking years, it feels like. That would have been huge.
Well,
Obviously didn't happen.
FDR died in, I believe, 45, so.
So, like, yeah, 60 something. Yeah, like, it's crazy. Fucking crazy. Yeah, like, that's crazy. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But here's the thing. When it came out that Manchin, who I agree with their characterization completely, Democrat name only, I mean, for God's sakes, he announced his opposition formally on Fox fucking News. That tells you everything you need to know. There was a voter in West Virginia who was a Trump voter in 2016 that was pleading with Manchin, like, don't oppose this. Please put your weight behind this bill. Families in West Virginia, we need this. What's the word I'm looking for? The aspects of Build Back Better. That wasn't the word I was looking for, but fuck it, doesn't matter. The aspects of Build Back Better, the components of it, there's a lot of bipartisan support. And what I notice about media, right, it focuses a lot on the sensationalist, quote-unquote, culture war stuff. Because if it focused on the economic stuff, if it focused on like, hey, why isn't there a fourth stimulus? Hey, what's in Build Back Better? And they reported it honestly, you'd see a lot of coalitions sprout up and you'd see a lot of unification. I think you really would. But I think what happens is it's an amplification of sensationalist culture war bullshit. Like, oh, trans women going to the girls' room and like details at 11 and like all the, and it's like, if you really, I even read a fascinating article because I've been curious about stuff again for this thing that I want to do in philosophy, hopefully next year. I was looking at like the most conservative states, like the state that voted for Trump the most. And they voted, it was Wyoming to answer that. Wyoming's actually the most conservative state. That surprised me. I thought it was going to be like Texas or like Ohio or something like that. No, it's fucking Wyoming. But the fascinating thing about Wyoming is that even though they're like all about small government, this and that, when this, I think it was like the Washington Post or something, like asked just Wyoming citizens how they felt about quote unquote cultural war issues, like abortion, this and that. They're like, well, I oppose it, but I wouldn't want anybody in government legislating about it. Like they wanted people to have that choice. So they wanted to keep their ideology to the personal, not the political,
right?
Which I found fascinating, right? Because what they wanted, I think, again, was that material support, low government, big business, because they do a lot of mining and stuff, which I disagree with. But again, putting that aside, it's to focus more on the fact of we want our economic security and our personal liberty. You give us that's fine. I think a lot of people actually want the same things. Granted, they visualize those things differently. That's where the legitimate ideological divides, I think, do come in, right? But it still doesn't change the fact that when you've got Fox News talking about culture war stuff like Jussie Smollett, trans bathroom debates, stuff like that, why aren't you talking about the working class shit? Yeah, CRT is a big one. Yeah, that's the new big thing that they've latched onto. It detracts from the fact that when you actually look at the studies and the polls and everything for measures like Build Back Better, stimulus checks, UBI, there's a lot of bipartisan support, and they know it, and I think they're scared of it. So to answer Abel's question with my own spin, because I think Ashton really gave a perfect answer, and I didn't want to take away from anything he said, but I know there are two people here, and I know Ashton said he likes it when we talk politics. I could take it or leave it sometimes based on my mood, because I know how I can get. I do think there's legitimate ideological divides, absolutely, and I think Ashton gave great reasons as to why. But I would also say that there is more common ground than you might think, but I don't blame anybody for missing it because the media is very selective about what they amplify. And that's why, like, I'm done with their crocodile tears and everything, because to me, you've hampered this as much as anyone, and now you've made this bed. You lie in your share of it, because there is a lot of unity. They just don't want you to know it. So, yeah, it's just my 2 cents on that.
All right, let's move on, I guess. Our fourth and actually that was our fifth and final question from Abel. So let's move on to Just Alex, who asked 3 questions. First up, name 5 talents AEW could hire that would encourage you both to watch and review it on a regular basis.
Oh, God, 5?
John,
I know Kevin Owens would have been the big one, but he re-signed.
I'm going to just go first on this, unless you would rather... you tell me what order you want to go in.
You can go first.
Okay.
You go first.
Number 1, AR Fox. Number 2, Swerve. Number 3, Kairi Hojo, Kairi Sane, whatever you want to call her. Number 4, Chris Bay. Number 5, I feel like there's a really obvious one that I'm missing. Keith Lee. There it is. Boom. Easy.
Damn. I think I'm going to poach your list, but I'm going to switch Chris Bay and Keith Lee for 2 other guys, so it's somewhat organic coming from me, because I do like that you mentioned
so that
AR Fox and Kairi,
AR
especially.
Fox, Swerve, and
Kairi, because you said Kairi Hojo.
Right.
I already said Kevin Owens, but he resigned, but I'm going to act like he's still on the table, because you're asking who could they sign.
Right.
So, yeah, Kevin would be one. And then let me think. Honestly... given how much I'm reminded how much I like him, Mark Haskins. I'd be curious what an AEW could do with Mark Haskins. So, yeah, Owens and Mark Haskins.
I actually want to, kind of qualify. I almost wouldn't want both Swerve and Chris Bay in the same company at the same time, because I feel like they're so similar with their vibe and the way that they kind of carry themselves and stuff that I wouldn't want people naturally just wanting them to be a team or something. So I would say one of the 2 of those guys plus the rest of my list. So we got, what was it? Keith Lee, AR Fox, and Kyrie. And then for my fifth, because again we're kind of combining two into one here, because I don't want both of them. I just want one or the other between Swerve and Chris Bay. For my fifth one, I will say Wyndham Rotunda.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So second question from Just Alex: what are your thoughts on Spider-Man: No Way Home, and where does it rank on your list of live-action Spider-Man films? Well, we know John hasn't seen it yet.
But I'm curious where it ranks for you personally. That's what I want to know
Well,
from you, is your ranking.
As far as my list of live-action Spider-Man films, it is far and away number one. Nothing really comes close to it. I think what does come closest to it is Far From Home, because I would rank No Way Home 1, Far From Home 2, Homecoming 3.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
And then I would say the first Amazing Spider-Man at 4, Spider-Man 2 at 5, and I'd probably say the first Spider-Man with Willem Dafoe at 6, Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 7, and then Spider-Man 3 at 8.
Can I just cut in and say that's a huge compliment to Tom Holland, that you feel like he killed it so much that you preferred his trilogy so far to like because that monopolized your top 3, right? That's pretty much what you said. So that, yeah, it's amazing that Tom Holland really is your Spider-Man.
Dude, truthfully, I don't even see it that way. I'm not really saying that the top 3 movies are because of Tom Holland. Like, the reason that No Way Home was so fucking good was because, like, Kevin Feige literally said, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be the Avengers Endgame for Spider-Man movies. And it was. I don't want to say any more than that, but it fucking was. Spider-Man Far From Home. I think that was made more by Mysterio and the trials that they put Spider-Man through than Tom Holland being Spider-Man. And then Homecoming again, Adrian Toomes was the most compelling character in that movie, the Vulture.
Yeah.
So really, it's more about the structure around Tom Holland than Tom Holland himself. It's really the Marvel, the MCU, the Kevin Feige Spider-Man movies are better than the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, or who did the Amazing Spider-Man movies? I don't even know.
I don't know either.
Mark Webb. That's who it was. Mark Webb.
Webb.
So, oh my God, you would point that out. But yeah, like, it's less that Holland is better than Garfield and Maguire, and more that MCU Spider-Man movies are better than Mark Webb or Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Like, if we're ranking the Spider-Man, I would still say Andrew Garfield is my Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, I think, is better than both Holland and Maguire at that role. I think as an actor, as a character actor, he's great. He's the best of the 3. But from a structural standpoint and from a directing standpoint and just the fact that it's actually a part of the MCU greater, I have to rank the 3, Tom Holland Spider-Man movies above all the other ones for that reason, but not because of Tom Holland. Like, Tom Holland's cool, I like him, but he's not the reason I love his movies. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I'm glad you contextualized that, yeah, because I think so many people, myself included just now, kind of focus on the figurehead in this case,
right.
But it's really something that you appreciate more, like everything going on around the figurehead, in terms of the villains and stuff like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And then my thoughts on the movie overall, yeah, it's like I said, it's my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, and it has made a dent. I don't know if I would say top 3 for sure, but it is definitely a top 5 all-time MCU movie for me. Easily.
Damn.
Maybe even top 3. Maybe even top 3. I don't know. It's crazy, dude. We've had a grand total of 4 MCU movies come out this year. We've seen 3 of them, and 2 of the 3 that we've seen have cracked my top 5 MCU of all time.
Yeah, that's wild.
Because Shang-Chi made my top 5 as well. Shang-Chi is like number 2 on my list. I don't know if No Way Home is going to surpass that or not, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was awesome. Third question from Just Alex. Third and final question. What are your reactions to Booker T saying wrestlers are stupid for choosing to leave WWE? I'm going to leave this one to you to start, and then I'll fill in gaps if I feel like I need to.
I don't think... God. For most basically, I think he's just another guy with an opinion. So whatever. But I think if you're asking me to engage that opinion substantively, I don't think he appreciates what makes a life worthwhile. I mean, if for him it's about bringing home the bacon to his family, he's 1,000% justified to feel that way. But if there are still wrestlers in the WWE that are like, yes, money's important, but I also want to live happily and I want to like make art, I don't think bookers should look at those people like they're weird. I think everybody, the beauty about life is that, you should be as self-determining as you can be. I mean, I know obviously like a lot of structural things and stuff can inhibit that, especially for black and brown people and stuff like that. But I think, if you want to make art, make art. If you want to make money, make money. Hell, if you can do both, fucking more power to you. But I don't think Booker has a right to be like, oh, that's crazy, man, because you're making the bag. And I don't understand these guys talking about having these great matches and that. Well, then that's okay, Book. That's just their perspective. That's not even me trying to be mean to Booker T. But, like, to me, it comes down to Booker can't get outside of his own perspective, and that's a him problem. So that's really how I feel about it.
Yeah. He was like talking about like, oh, these guys are leaving a secure job to go have some 5-star matches. And I'm just like, how ignorant can you possibly be? Because another thing that he doesn't seem to be taking into account is wear and tear on the body. Like, can we just address that AEW generally only features any given talent once a week, maybe twice at most? Whereas WWE, their people are working 300 plus days a fucking year. We're talking about, at worst, a third of the work schedule in AEW compared to WWE. At best, it's probably more like a tenth, 1/8, maybe 1/7. Like, realistically, that's probably what you can expect. If you go to AEW, because not everyone that goes to AEW is featured every week. People who are featured every week aren't necessarily in a match every week. And people who are in a match every week aren't in multiple matches every week for the most part. Like, general rule. Like, on average, I would guess that, like, the average AEW performer this year has probably wrestled, like, 40, 45 matches, right? I'm
Right.
sure that there are people on the roster that have wrestled 100 or over 100. But on average, I'm guessing it's like in the 40s, right? So,
Right.
like, you compare that to working 300 plus days a year. And when I say working, I mean working matches for 300 plus days a year. And having to worry about driving from town to town, which obviously AEW is getting back to touring now too. But for the longest time, they were literally just doing Jacksonville shows or Daly's Place shows. But, like, even still, the wear and tear on your body isn't going to be as extreme if you're not needing to rush and deprive yourself of sleep because you're trying to get to the next town the next day. Whereas with AEW, it's like the next week rather than the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
this has been the argument for Impact and Ring of Honor too. Like, it doesn't really fucking matter that you're getting paid less. I would rather get paid $50 to work for an hour than get paid $100 to work for 10 hours. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole thing that Booker T seems to be overlooking. Booker T is like, oh, volume. We need to get more money, more money, more money. It doesn't matter what you have to go through to get it. And that's such a fucking boomer attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. That's like the healthiest thing about the millennial and certainly the Zoomer generation, right? Is
Dude,
that like
especially the Zoomers.
Zoomers don't
Bro,
give a fuck.
Zoomers will not put up with your shit, and I love it.
I love it too. Like, I think, and again, it's so easy to like do boomer dunks and stuff like that, but I do always want to come at these questions with a level of sincerity.
Boomer,
And I do think
I call Booker
Boomer
Boomer.
T.
No, but Booker isn't even a boomer. He's technically Gen X, but Gen X seems to have really leaned more into the boomer mentality lately.
I mean, let's be honest, it's Boomer Light.
Right?
Boomer Light.
Right?
Yeah.
It really, like, Gen X is like boomers that want to fit in.
Ew, action with that crowd. Ew.
Actual boomers don't give a fuck, but like Gen X is like boomers that want millennials to think they're cool.
Yeah. But no, what I wanted to say was it's a very unhealthy mentality that I think boomers have kind of handed down, that like, oh, well, it's what a man does, or it's what a person does. They work, they clock in, they clock out, and then they die. Like, I'm sorry, I want to.
I mean, you were right the first time. They definitely see it more as a man thing than a person thing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But you know, and it's like you just got to stay at that job and you got to keep your head down. And it's like, no, like I have all of this vitality and everything to offer. And again, I'm speaking purely that this is the culture we have. Because if we had the culture I wanted, the economy would be automated out the fucking ass. People's needs would be met, and then you could have time to write that book that you've always wanted to, learn that instrument. You know, be fucking happy.
Ooh, I'm getting turned on by utopian dreams.
Dude, yes, and we all should be getting turned on by utopian dreams because I'm sorry, maybe this is the boomer in me in the sense of like I never shut the fuck up about this stuff the way they don't shut the fuck up about how they had it. Yeah, we get it. You got to go to college for like $5. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, I literally just saw a tweet the other day that was like, man, I can't believe that there was a time where someone could be working a full-time job and be able to afford a house off of that. A whole ass house off of one job.
That has such the fucking sun energy in the most depressing way.
A whole ass house.
A whole ass house. Oh my god. 2 bedrooms. Holy shit. Oh my god. But no, like I'll never forget. I'm in a Taco Biondo, which is like a local restaurant.
Biondo's a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought that was a South Park thing.
No, we have one. We have one.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Casa Bonita. Never mind.
Yeah. Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita. Casa Bonita.
I'm sitting there with Christy, and I'm just looking at her while we're waiting for our food, and I'm like, I can't believe that we evolved and developed like all these centuries, you know, what the fuck ever, and this is the life that we chose. We could have chosen any one, and this is the life that people were like, you know, I could benefit all of my neighbors, but it's so much better if I just benefit me. And we just allowed it to happen. We were just like, you know, I'd love to get in on that, but you know what? You do you, fam. No, I wish I could go back and do it all over again.
It's like a prisoner's dilemma, but with everyone.
Like, I'm telling you guys, look, you guys know your boy John needs serious, serious help. We can all be self-aware for a second and know that that's a fact. I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, I am, but I can accept it, right? But the only comfort I have...
serious for a second.
Yeah, like... And this is me being serious, and that's why it's kind of dark and morbid. The only comfort I have, and I don't even know if I'm right, I still pray. And now Kellogg has given me a little bit of hope about this, but I don't think they would go that hard because let's remember, they did settle. I understood why they settled, but they still settled. I just keep thinking when Bezos goes into his shuttle pod to leave the Earth one final time, I'm still hoping that horde of poor people, you'll feel something tugging at his leg. What? No, no, no. And they'll pull him up and they'll rip out his entrails and they'll literally eat him. Those beginning eating, it'll be too late. It'll be too late. But my God, if I'm going to die, I just need to know that the rich are being eaten before it happens. I want to know. Like, and I've said this before, and you know that if I've said it before and I'm still saying it, you really should be worried because, my God, I've said it practically the same way verbatim, which is how you know that I mean it. He can't. He can't. Either the shuttle pod needs to malfunction and be on a direct course to the sun, or he can't make it. If he leaves the planet, fuck. Because the only joy I have in my life is that, now I've said this line before, this is the first time in fucking TWitWoW history, I'll say it unironically, if there has ever been a person that's been too safe for too long, it's Jeff Bezos. And he needs to know. He needs to feel the wrath of God. He's on that ship. Finally, I'm going to terraform Mars and build Amazon 2.0. What? No. Get off, you pores. I'll give you stock options. You can't do this to me. And you hear the crunch, the teeth penetrating the flesh for the first time. Do you know, and I'm going to lean into the mic for this, do you know how fucking rock hard that gets me? That is fucking... Oh, so good.
God, he made the kids.
Oh, it's so delectable, the despair that he loses everything at the fucking goal line. He can't get off the planet. He cannot. I need him to have his entrails forcibly ripped out and redistributed because his wealth never was. I want his fucking pancreas. Hashtag give me Bezos' pancreas.
Oh my
so I don't
God.
even
We're talking
remember
about
what the
Bezos? How is this not being said about Musk right now?
Oh, Musk will be experiencing my Musk when I keep his head sentient when it's severed from the rest of him and he has to smell me every day. No! What happened? I was so close. Yeah, well, I guess SpaceX really just kind of went down when it mattered most. But yeah, we can't. No, I'm not going to let them terraform Mars. No, I'm still rooting for the horde of poor people to just do what needs to be done. It's the only thing that gives me hope. That and unions. But yeah, I'm still holding on to my depraved dreams. And if people are asking, like, wow, John, I've never seen you this mask off before. Will you please get help?
No.
Yes, but also I'm not going to lose my ire against the rich because fuck them. They will need the help when it matters most. So I don't even remember what the question was, but yeah, that's how I feel. That's my like darkest, most morbid fantasies, and I appreciate you all for letting me share that with you. And I got to do the Hannibal Lecter not once but twice.
This all came back to just Alex asking what we thought about Booker T saying that wrestlers are stupid for choosing.
And it's so perfect because I know just Alex is like a liberal centrist, and so he's going to be like, I don't know if I agree. Well, I couldn't hear you over the sound of me chewing on that large intestine. So that's where I'm at. And yeah, Booker T, he's
names
old.
Of organs, and yet you've made the Chianti sound twice and haven't mentioned kidneys.
Some fava. Well, wouldn't it be? He always says fava beans. He doesn't really. Oh yeah. I guess because kidney beans, right? Or what? Yeah, I don't know.
I thought. Oh no, it was liver. It was liver. He said I ate his liver.
Oh yeah, it was liver. That's what it was. And he fed a child brain once on an airplane. What a fucking sicko. But yeah, Booker. He's old. He has a podcast. He's gonna do what a lot of old people with a podcast do: have bad opinions. It's that simple.
Fucking bingo. Next and final set of questions are from Alex Foster. Starting with question 1. In kayfabe, why does it take wrestlers so long to debut? For example, Veer.
Oh, God. Ashton, you'd be perfect to answer this question because I know that shit pisses you off. Where it's like coming in and they're like, give us a date. So I want you to go first on this one.
At this point, thanks to William Regal, I think anytime something in wrestling can be observed and kind of isolated, and we point it out and we say that's absurd, it's mind games. That's all it is. It's mind games. It's literally just the debuting wrestler wanting to get inside the heads of everyone on the roster and throw them off their game so that when they debut they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, guys, I'm honestly spent from all my silliness and like hyper serious answers. That's as straightforward and as logical as you're gonna get. I'm just gonna copy paste.
Second question from Foster: what's the weirdest holiday special you guys have seen? I mean, the Solar Opposites one that we just watched has got to rank, right?
Yeah, it's got to, especially that ending. I'd say that one or the
Wait, what was the Rick and Morty again? You mean the one where they beat the shit out of Jamie?
Yes.
God. Oh, if only they could have actually gotten Jake Lloyd to play the voice. It would have been so perfect.
I'd say beyond that, Rick and Morty's Anatomy Park episode, because it was just pretty wild, especially when the homeless guy like grows.
Holiday episode?
I mean, it was around Christmas, and Jerry confiscated the devices and stuff. Remember? And he's like, "Yeah, it's Christmas. We should, it's family and stuff like that." So yeah, I totally count it. Absolutely.
So here's my thing. I know he said holiday special, and that normally does imply like winter holidays, but the weirdest one, and the one that I'll never forget, it's like the most unforgettable holiday special I've ever seen, wasn't a winter holiday thing. It was a Halloween special. The Boy Meets World Halloween special, when there's a killer in the school and everyone's trying to find him, and then it turns out it was Sean all along, and then it turned out to be a dream.
Fucking Sean Hunter.
Do you remember that episode?
I do vaguely remember
Jennifer Love Hewitt was in it?
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that episode. Yeah, that was wild. What a fucking fever dream.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It really was a fucking fever dream. But that show made air on Disney Channel.
God, poor Sean too, because I know it was a dream, but of course they make the poor guy in the group the fucking killer. Like,
well, it was his dream, I think, right? Wasn't it?
Oh well, that that's a whole other issue then, I guess.
We already knew that Sean had significant emotional trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
All right, next question.
all right. Third question from Alex: if you guys worked for Roman Reigns, what would your jobs be?
I think I'd be the new wise man because I wouldn't cheat on him like Paul fucking Heyman.
I know,
So
dude, and I would be the analysis. I would do the analyses.
yeah, dude, you'd be so great at that for him.
I would
You'd be
I
like,
would
okay,
break
this is your
down. I would
lungs.
break
Yeah.
down the matches. I would be like, listen, Roman. I know you really like Superman punches, but statistically, if you hit more than 3 of them in a match, your odds of winning go down by about 18%. We need to stop that.
Oh wow, I'd love that. I'd love that. And then as the wise man, I'd be like, you should listen to Ashton's counsel. So you would work as a team, building each other up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then, yeah, we'd
Oh my
fortify.
God, we would politic the fuck out of ourselves.
Dude, we would be riding the coattails of the championship. It'd be amazing.
I love it.
Fuck you, Heyman. Yeah.
TWitWoW for the new special counsel.
And to be honest, I'm here for the lulls when Roman scares the fuck out of us when he's getting impatient with us, because I could totally pull off. Like, that was the funniest thing Paul Heyman did when he's, like, crying. Please don't do this. Like, I could do that pretty convincingly. Please don't do this.
See, and I'd be all about, like, listen, man, the numbers don't lie. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just the one reporting these things to you. I'm not the one making them up.
And then Roman would be laughing because he said the numbers don't lie. I gave you the numbers because I'm wrestling in that ring. Okay, I'm just telling you what they look like.
Listen, I only have your best interest at heart. I'm trying to help you, okay?
Yeah, see, there it is. There's that little bit of tone where it's like, I'm starting to get nervous, but I have to hold my ground. I can't give this up. That's why you'd be perfect, because it's like, I really don't want to concede, but you're really making me nervous right now.
It's like, I've never been punched in the face before, and I don't want to start now, but please just listen to me.
Just listen, and you'll know that I'm wrong. What was that? And now that, look, you'll just come to respect my experience, okay? These questions are fun. What's the next one?
Fourth question from Foster: what movies could use a TV show continuation besides superhero stuff?
So wait, repeat. What movies could use a TV continuation?
Yeah, what movies could use a TV show continuation besides
that isn't superhero stuff?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, I have a great answer for this.
Okay.
The Nice Guys.
Ooh, I do like that.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and honestly, if you just gave me a weekly buddy cop show along the lines of like Hawaii, what is it? Is it Hawaii 5-0?
I think it's Hawaii 5-0 you're thinking of,
Along those lines, where you get just fucking Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling solving mysteries together every week, give me an hour of television every week, that I would watch the fuck out of that. Hell yes.
This question's so hard for me to answer, because I do watch a lot of films with you, and I do watch some films with the family, but a lot of it is superhero stuff, right? So that's where it's difficult.
Would you watch a weekly episode of Whiplash where it's just Andrew and I forget, J.K. Simmons?
I would watch a series following Andrew after the events of Whiplash. Right. That I would watch, where he's like playing the concert halls, and then ultimately, because the director even said he sees him like dying in an alley on drugs. We're damn sure at a place where not all media has to be happy-go-lucky. We've been in that place for decades. I would love a TV show that actually shows that, because I think Miles Teller is
really.
Is a great
I would almost
actor.
Want the TV show not even to follow Miles Teller, but to specifically follow Fletcher after Miles Teller's death, after Andrew's death, in his quest to find the next Andrew.
That would be. There you go. I'm taking that answer. That's perfect. Because J.K. Simmons is a national fucking treasure. He's so goddamn good.
Like, maybe season 1 is almost like, you know how a lot of like crime shows will have like a new plot every week, or like how like superhero shows will have a villain of the week that they have to beat, and then we move on. Week 1 would be like Prodigy of the week. Like, we have a new kid every week where it's like, does he have it? And you can just tell for the first few that it's not going to happen. And then maybe we have like a 2-parter where it's like it takes until the second episode with the same person that for Fletcher to realize that he doesn't got it. And then at the very end of the first season, he finds one and it clicks. And it's like, let's fucking go. And then season 2 is him trying to make it happen, and maybe he fails, and then we get like seasons 3 and 4 are like the actual real thing, and that's how it ends.
Yeah, I love that. Love that idea.
Yeah. All right. Final question of the Q&A. Fifth and final from Alex Foster. What wrestlers would you like to see bald for a show?
Bald for a show?
Did you hear my mom?
What'd she say?
Adam Cole, baby.
Wow, rude. Go to your room.
He told you to go to your room.
Matt Riddle. What'd she say?
She was just trying to get a reaction from you.
Aw. She's precious. Still go to your room, though. It worked.
He said you're precious, but still go to your room. It worked.
That laugh, though. I can't stay mad at her. That laugh is so you. I see where you get it from, actually. Oh, man. Oh, God. Too much is making sense right now. Fuck, I want to go back into the cocoon of my ignorance. But no, I think Matt Riddle, just because I think he'd be personally humiliated by it, and that turns me on. What else? Matt Riddle.
Who's like defined by their hair?
Oh, Roman Reigns. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Oh my God. In fact, just to kind of retort at your mom, Roman and definitely Drew. Definitely Drew.
He said. Honestly, dude, Drew would pull off bald.
I'm going to qualify. I know you're not qualifying it. I would. I agree with you, but only if he kept the beard.
Oh my God.
Only if he kept
absolutely.
like the facial hair.
He would have to keep the facial hair. He would be able to pull it off, though. He would need a good waxing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't be able to pull off like the almost like 5 o'clock shadow on the top of the head, like Corbin rocks a lot of the time. He wouldn't be able to pull that. But if it was nice and shiny bald, like cue ball bald, Drew would pull that shit off for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm good there, because questions like this aren't always easy for me, but yeah, I like what I've answered here. Do you have anybody you want to add?
Let's see. How about... Ooh, my mom's not going to like this, but if we go for almost like a Daniel Bryan, bald head, big beard kind of look, Elias.
Ooh. Is Elias still employed? What the fuck is he doing?
He hasn't been released yet, but he's also dead, remember?
Oh, yeah, like, what's...
Yeah,
coming back to life?
I mean, I don't know what the character's name is now, so I'm just going to say Jeff Sulo, which is his real name, buried the Elias character on Raw that one time.
Yeah, but they haven't done anything since then, right?
No, they haven't. He literally hasn't been on TV since those vignettes, which is why I say he's dead, but he also hasn't been fired yet either, so I really don't know what's going on there.
I almost have to wonder if he'll be a surprise in the Rumble. Because, why debut him, say, next week when you could just wait to the Rumble? What's waiting a few more weeks? That's what I'm trying to say. Why, what's waiting a few more weeks until the Rumble and then do it then?
Yeah,
so,
gotcha.
Interesting.
Who else could work bald? Honestly, kind of similar to your reason with Matt Riddle, Cody Rhodes.
I just thought of another one, only because, I remember the lulls. Let Tama Tonga, let's do Maven again. Let's fucking do Maven again.
I want to see Tama Tonga bald, but with the full beard.
See, that would be epic, but for me being a troll, yeah, just look like a fucking mole rat with that face, just no hair on there. And yeah, like...
Oh,
damn.
God, I can't. I'm just imagining it now, and I'm regretting imagining it.
Let it in deeper. Think about it more. Let it in deeper.
Oh, no. He looks
all that sheen. All that sheen on that dome.
I don't want it. He really does look like Maven. What the fuck? I mean, don't even bring up that theme song. That theme song was a fucking bop and a half. I love that shit. I was legitimately, between that and Burning My Light, I was into Mercy Drive as a teenager.
Yeah. Also said apparently Tama Tonga has a brand new look. Oh my God, is it happening? Has he embraced the Maeve?
No!
Oh my God, that was precious. Let's see.
Oh, you know who else I want to see bald? Toru Yano.
That would be fucking hilarious if he'd pull it off. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. Alright, I think I'm good. I think that's it. I think that's our last question. Yeah, that was our last question on the entire Q&A. So that wraps it up. John, any final thoughts before we go off the air here?
Yeah, I have some final thoughts. We did fucking amazing on this. Those are my final thoughts.
You really mean it, don't you?
Yeah, I'm especially proud of you. You gave a lot of great answers, friend. So
Thanks.
that's for you and you only.
God.
There are other claps like it, but that was mine.
Yeah, that's the only one that matters.
I knew it. I knew it the whole time. So Jesus Christ. Next Q&A, guys, will be number 67. Actually, no, we won't get to 100 until what, 2023? Because if it's like Q&A every month, 12 months.
One a month. So what? 46. So let's see. 12 from now will be 78, then 90. So that would be
2024, actually.
5.
Oh, 2025. Shit,
Well,
man.
yeah, because think about it. 78 a year from now in 2022, right? It'll be 78. Then a year after that in 2023, it'll be 90. So yeah, actually, or am I doing the math right there? Yeah, I am.
You are doing the math right. That's why I said
Yes.
2024.
Right. So it is. Yeah, it'll be literally. Holy shit, dude. Our 100th Q&A will be a week before the 2024 election.
Oh my God! Abel's already preparing the questions. Abel's like, yes, perfect.
That's too good. What? How did that work out?
You know what? I am really hoping that somebody semi-unironically asks, because Hillary Clinton will find a way to put her brain in a robot and run again. Is Robot Hillary finally going to win the presidency? And I'm still going to say no, and I'll laugh if I'm right. God, amazing. But yeah, that's fucking crazy.
I can't believe that worked out like that. What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Jesus Christ. But yeah, in the meantime, everybody can simmer down, because that's not happening for 3 fucking years. But most immediately, next Q&A, the first Q&A of the new year, number 67, is going to be January 27th. So you guys know the drill. Patreon donors get 5 Q&A questions. Non-Patreon donors only get 3. So if you want to be in the Patreon donor class, just donate $1. I recommend donating 3 so you get access to the Discord, because we have a Q&A channel on there. Really easy place to submit questions. My pinned tweet is the other place, but my pinned tweet didn't even get any replies this month, which tells me that a lot of people just like going to the Discord. I don't blame you. The Discord's amazing. But just know that the Twitter is also there. If you don't have Discord access, I'm at John_TwitWoW. I'm going to swap pinned tweets as soon as we go off the air here. And yeah, just get your questions in, guys. Beyond that, join us tomorrow at 7. Because it's year-end awards.
That's the big one.
Oh my God, yeah, it is. Yeah, year-end awards from worst to best, and that's how we do it. Really excited about a lot of my awards. And some awards, I will say now, I have a fuck ton of honorable mentions. Other ones, I don't even think I have any, but I just like who got the award in general. I'm really happy with my award selection this year. I actually think I did better than Ashton in some categories from what I know. That's just a personal opinion. Normally, I feel like he kicks my ass in these.
I didn't know it was a competition, sir. Jeez.
It feels like it because you make great picks, okay? In a weird way, it's a compliment, because he really does. He makes excellent picks. I can't wait to see what he's picked. But I'm like, I actually showed up this year, so eat my ass.
I will never.
And you know what? You don't know that. You don't know that.
I do. I will never.
I will not. Don't you love not only when he's firm, but with tone? I low-key am here for it.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You're making my anger cute. I don't appreciate that. Stop it.
Hey, you know I'm precious, and that's why you hate it. But yeah, guys, no, it's year-end awards tomorrow. It's great. I think we both put so much thought into these. I know it's Ashton's favorite commentary. It's never mine, only because of like how much work it is. But honestly, at the end of the road, it's always so rewarding, because you really get to see the year in review. And what we, and really even more than the negative side, on the positive side, what we really responded to and what really made us happy this year. Yeah. And I always love celebrating that because I think especially these days, because let's keep in mind too, guys, I think this year End Awards is special because Speaking Out did happen this year and the massive WWE releases happened this year.
Speaking Out happened last year.
Oh my god. Well, then for guys, just don't listen to me about anything because I have no perception of time anymore. But it doesn't change the fact that I think you're still feeling the reverberations of Speaking Out into this year because I did even see more stuff come out this year.
Yeah.
And nothing was really done about it, which is maybe why I couldn't even really tell anything. But obviously, massive WWE releases were this year. Yeah. So it just, the WWE, or even just the wrestling industry in America and North America, places like that, Brit wrestling, Jesus Christ, continue to be so depressing that to look at the positives, I think is really good, and I love how we do that, and I think we do it better than most. So I'm excited for it. I hope you're all there. It's a long commentary. Watch the ball drop with us. You know you want to because you know there's that one family member that sucks. It's okay. We all have them.
That one. Holy shit! You're better off finding a family member that doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. But I didn't want to be antagonistic to our fan base. Like, what'd you say about my grandmother? I don't even know you.
And nobody in our fan base likes their family. That's why they're here.
Oh, damn. I mean, I literally wasn't going to go that hard, and you woke up and you chose violence. So that hits different. I'm not going to lie. That hits different. But he said what he said, and I want to emphasize tentatively, co-sign. Unless it's wrong, in which case I'll get some white out and it'll just be him going hard.
I was going to say, if you do like your family, congratulations on lucking out, seriously.
Yeah, congratulations on not being me for the most part. God, you think you're better than me? You probably are. God, I have so many complexes. Anyway, really just be here tomorrow at 7.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, be here tomorrow at 7. It's going to be fun. We always go 5 hours with these. That's why I even said watch the ball drop with us, because it's definitely going past midnight. And I really am excited to talk about some of our award recipients this year, including most anticipated 2022 debut, talking about the new year. I really liked who I picked for that. I think that was the best pick I've ever made in that award category.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I really do, because I think I think it's genius.
Meaning like the most in the person that's already in, but they just haven't been on Raw or SmackDown, right?
Exactly, yeah. I really like who I picked. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I feel like last year, oh my god. Bro, honestly, yes, but not because I already know that you have an amazing pick. Literally just because all of your other picks have been so bad. Like, dude, you realize last year you picked Undisputed Era to Raw or SmackDown?
That wasn't my fault, okay? That is their fault. That is
the year before that, you picked Malcolm Bivens.
Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. Suck that laugh back in right now. Suck it back in right now.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
I'm going to say 2 things to that. 1, no, you're not. And 2, surprisingly, I have it coming, okay? I can admit that I have it coming. But this is definitely going to happen, and I actually want to talk to you about it like after the show, because I can't hold it in now talking about it. Okay. But yeah, you guys will love it, so be there. I only talked about it this long because I really do want you guys there, because I want us all to ring in the new year together. Yeah. So that's my piece. I'm going to hand over to Ashton to take us home formally. It's all you, bud.
All right, everyone. John already covered everything. We'll see you tomorrow for our year-end awards. I would really recommend showing up for that, because even if you don't stick around for the whole thing, you can watch it in parts. You can break it up. You can, just kind of pop in, see how things are going. It's treated almost like a New Year's party. You don't have to show up when the party starts and stay there the whole time and wait until the party ends to leave. You can pop in. You can say how's it going. You can leave. You can come back another time. You can, it's like a whole ass ongoing thing. It's less of a commentary and more of an experience, our year-end awards. And like John said, we usually go around 5 hours, so I'm hoping that we go long enough to be able to enjoy the new year with everyone. Obviously, there's going to be people already having celebrated the new year when we go live, because we have fans who live in France and the UK, and probably other places that we don't know about in other places of the world that are not in the US. But midnight will be 5 hours after we go live our time. So should be a lot of fun. Next week, we are definitely going to have Stardom to react to, but more importantly, we have Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom is going to be on the 3rd, or not on the 3rd, it's going to be on the 4th, the 5th, and the 8th, which means Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. We will be live reacting to those shows. Monday the 3rd, so this coming Monday, we will be previewing and predicting those shows. And most likely, because of the way everything worked out, we will be live reacting to the Tuesday, December 3rd, or Monday, December 3rd Stardom show on Thursday, December 6th. So next Thursday, so a week from today, actually. So we hope to see you there. That I'm actually more excited for that than I am for Wrestle Kingdom, which is probably saying a lot. But there will be a Stardom match on night, I believe, 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. And there are other matches on Wrestle Kingdom that I'm looking forward to as well. So I'm not even trying to front and say that, oh, Wrestle Kingdom sucks or whatever. It should still be fun. I'm still looking forward to it. We hope that you're looking forward to it. And most importantly, we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.